kiisa iyo maqaamkiisa waxaan inagu salaamayaa salaanta islaamka mar labaad assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatu. marka ugu horeyso horta alla subxaanahu wa tacaala mahad celinaya isku keenay inteenaasi oo u socda inaan dadkii aan ka nimidnay iyo dhulkaan ka nimidnay wax ku celino. soo alla subxaanahu wa tacaala mahadda labaad waxa iskale dhalinyarada sharafta leh soo abaabushay madashan ugu talagalay intaasoo qof iskugu yimaadaan ay ka yimaadaan ilaa Austin ilaa iyo Oklahoma City. waxa qureen u nimidnan tahay inaan is aragno oo aan ka fikirno sidii dadkii iyo ummaddii aan ka nimidnay wax ugu celin lahayd. guddida DFW Airport SLPA iyo dhammaanba organizationka I think Isaaq iyo Mustafa ayaa had iyo goor anigu aan la xiriiraa ilaa iyo for the last dhowrkii sanadood u dambeysay waxaan ka wada qayb galnay waaheen markii ay gubatay lacag ilaa $100,000 ayaa $130,000 galaan saxday ayaan ururnay insha Allah dhalinyaradana iyo inta qori aan sameyn karnaa waxa weeye inaan ku dhiirigelino inay shaqadaas sii wadaan. soo aad iyo aad baan u salaamayaa iyakana dhammaanba inkana alla subxaanahu wa tacaala tallaabada soo qaadeen iyo meesha ka timaadeen ilaahay miisaanka xasanaadka inuu rido. waxaan kaloo halkan ka salaamayaa waxa nala jooga Cabdi Daahir Aye oo ah board member Amoud Foundation isaguna insha Allah aad iyo aad maasantay. waxyaalo badan baa laga yaabaa inaan ka hadalno laakiin maanta waxa quraan ka hadlatahay waxa weeye maxaa ugu weyn ee faa'iido laga heli karaa lagu celin kara dhulka. investment way waxaan sameynaa investmentka ugu weyn aan sameyn karnaa muxuu yahay hadii goor markaas sidan oo kale dad lala hadlayana waxa dhacda in crowd syndrome wax la yiraahdo. laakiin waxaan rabaa hadii maanta microphone waxaan u maleynayaa uu gooyana waxaan rabaa inaan qof walba meeshuu joogo as an individual aan la hadlo in a crowd yeah Mike's not working. Wow. Yeah. marka inaan ka hadlo ta investment education ka hadlo John Kennedy waxa laga sheegay wuxuu yiri one of his famous quotes ka waxa kamid ahaa ask what you can do for your country instead of asking what the country can do for you. inaad adigu isweydiisay waxaad ku celin kartaa. contribution-ka ugu weyn ee qofka bini'aadamka wax ku celin karaana waxa weeye inuu at least waan ka taganaa adduunyadan inaad wax ummadii ku celiso wax ka hara dhaxal baan adiga goor Somaliland. marka waxyaalo badan ayaa laga hadlay oo la geliyay wadankeeni GNP da bank World Bank wuxuu ku qiyaasay in around $200 for the whole year yahay. qof investment hadaad geliso oo ilmo yar hadaad investment geliso waxa la baro qofka yari wuxuu sameyn karaa in ka badan $200 bishii. marka waxaad arki kartaa isbedelka qofka bini'aadamka ku sameysay ee wax la baray. dadkeenu inta badan waxay haayeen pastoral bay haayeen iyo markii dambena waxoogaa beeraha loo wareegay. beerihii imika climate change baa adduunyada ka dhacday dadkii beerihii ka wada yimaadeen. inta Hargeysa ilaa milyan ee dheeraad $2 milyan baa lagu qiyaasay 2 milyan oo qof baa lagu qiyaasaa inta ku nool. magaalo walbo tagta booming bay noqdeen. dhulkii waa laga yimid xoolaha way dhamaadeen beerihiina dad ma fashaan. marka waxa qureen la sameyn karaa investment sameyn karnaa haddaan nahay qurbo jooga in aan sameyno in dadkii wax la baro. marka I think diinteenuna marka aayadan ugu horeysa waxa sheegaysaa iqra nabiga aayadii ugu horeysay ku soo waxay sheegaysaa iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaqa. marka waxaad ka garanaysaa alla subxaanahu wa tacaala inuu nagu amray inaan wax barano dadkana aan wax barno. next slide. marka ayadu waxay it makes beginning of the Prophet bay ka sheegeen it highlights that Islam begins with education, value and elements of learning. Seeking knowledge is the foundation of faith, progress and civilization. xadiiskaasina wuxuu sheegayaa seeking knowledge walow kaana fi siin oo kale ayuu leeyahay that even you have to go to China to learn. marka Anas bin Malik baa soo ayaan ka soo xiganay seeking knowledge from cradle to grave, seeking knowledge even if you have to go to as far as China. Second adeero marka anigu waxyaalaha had iyo goor aan ka soo qaadanay education value-giisu 1960gii case study baa laga sameeyey Ghana oo West Africa ah iyo South Korea. labadooduba South Korea GNP-giisu waxaa $150 to $200. Ghana way ka sareyso $180 to $220 buha. South Korea widespread poverty berigaasi dagaaladii bay ka soo noqdeen aad iyo aad bay dhibaato u jirtay. laakiinse waxay sameeyeen they high focus on rebuilding society, strong culture, emphasis on education. I think innaka iyo South Korea waxyaalaha qura ee aan ka midnahay waxa weeye waa strong culture. marka it will be easy for us haddii aan educationka emphasis-ka la saaro inaan ka gudi karno moogtahay poverty-ga iyo dhibaatada imika ina haysata Soomaaliya. Second slide there. Because supporting education initiatives throughout the country. dhibaatada education wuu jiraa iskuulla way jiraan waddanka jaamacadaha jira imika Somaliland around 39 university. laakiinse dhibaatadu waxay tahay waxbarashadii masalan markaan iskuulka 6 days baa yaa la tegi jiray school from ilaa 7 8 ilaa up to education kuna valuable ah. imika dhibaatadu waxa weeye maadaama dawladii aanay strong ahayn only 7% of the budget goes to education. Less than even 7%. marka waad garan kartaa dhibaatadaas halka marka one of the things that nagu dhiiriyay waxa weeye we have to have ownership, stakeholders and waxbarashada. If we're going to make change in our society, we have to be stakeholders. And it's something dawladda aanay qaban karin inaad idinku aad qaban kartaan. My target aan nagala hadlaya maaha wax dawlad qabanayso ma organization qabanayo waxaad adigu qof individual ah samayn karto oo halkan fadhiya. marka sponsor a child from elementary school and continue the progress. ha kaga hadhin halkaas. waa imika wada is school dawladda leedahay wada private school walba waxa laga qaadaa fee bay bixiyaan. Maybe from $2, $3 all the way to qof walba wuxuu helay. The Abarsa is not free, you know Abarsa High School. We also need to encourage Burca Academy also iyaduna aad u wanaagsan. marka laakiinse you know how much it costs. Elite kun baa geli kara. marka we have to as an ownership, as an individual, we have to sponsor a child from elementary all the way to college. College students who are from $250 to almost $600 to $700 scholarship per semester. If you can afford it, sponsor a semester, through the whole year, try to support especially those students who are bright and who are also in need. Mentor students from the same field. waxyaalaha had goor SPL ka hadashay saaqnaa ka dhawaajiyay waxa weeye other community, especially Bangladesh, and we work with them. iyo Hindiduba, they support especially talented students ki wadankii joogay. They support, they encourage every Saturday or Sunday. waxay imika adduunyadii it became a village. You can do WhatsApp groups. You can also do Zoom meetings. haddii ama GMAT-kii ama imtixaanadii caafimaadka oo kale ama engineering department, anything you can also coach and give it back to those who are in need. marka tala samayn kara waxayna imka easy bay noqdeen. Marka you can also do the mentor students from same field, both India and Bangladesh, like I said, diaspora support medical students. 20% of the medical doctors in this country waa ajaanib. Waxaa ugu badan Hindida, waxaa ka badan waliba Syrians. And haddaad la sheekaysato, the way they became that waxa weeye waxay sameeyeen, way iscaawiyeen. Marka we can do the same thing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We'll do the same thing others are doing. One of the things I know as an Amud Foundation, so I sponsor a child, $30 a month. Education children cannot $25 a month. And we'll do that $360 1 year. We will give you an update every 6 months ilmaha halka marayo, from education to all the way to his caafimaad. If you can afford, there is still need for building schools. Ha kaga hadhin waliba building schools, at least for some time. See if you can support the school. For Amud Foundation, I think we did around almost 12, 13 schools. The last one we did was Wajale. There's a waiting list, 380 students by the first day enrolled grade. You can see there's a need for education. Education, I think this is one of the quotes from Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. I know I have 24 siblings. Haddaanan wax baran lahayn ama iskuul la gelin lahayn, and the only person, even not only my brothers and sisters, like so the whole Igal family, I was the one who went to school. So you can see the impact education can have. Where I could be, waxa laga yaabaa second generation teen, you have a chance to go to school, all your brothers and sisters. Like say, imagine someone in Hargeisa or State House degan, or all his income maybe $10 a day, maybe $7 school haduu helo, and see that person where he can be. Haddaynan dad inikoo kale intaad u timaadeen inayna caawin, where that child will be. The second quote came from Malcolm X, and really one of the things that encouraged garay markaan Maraykan imiday 1979 is markaan buuggii Malcolm X buuggiisii akhriyay. Some of you, I think, need to, if you haven't read it, please go read, because waxaad arki kartaa impactka waxbarashadu. Jeelku wax ku bartay, he educated himself. And this is the reason why anagu waddankeena dadkii wax la baray, aabayaashiin ama awoowayaashiin wax bareen, wax aan ku celinay dhulka, including myself, waxaan ku celinay dadkeenii ma jiro. Because waxbarashadu not only waxbarashoon maaha, and Malcolm X say the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. And too many of our people can see, but they don't understand what they are looking for. Okay, education, I think we have more doctorates, we have more lawyers, we have more people who want to education. Like this, that Kenny were better off 100 years ago. Maanta wax walba oo wadankii, everything that comes dibadda laga keena. How can ummad yani waxba aan beeranin, waxba aan dawo soo saarin, irbad lagu mudo dadkaan soo saarin, how are they going to survive? Yaase u fikiraya, do you expect in waxay ku soo degayo? No. Ininka laynaga rabaa inaad u fikirtaan. And the best of among you, dadka soo baxay, at least one of the things waa diaspora waa la dhegaystaa. Qof walba oo waddanka ka soo baxa markaan noqoto waa la dhegeysaa. Marka we have to really make sure that we invest back in our country. I think Somaliland is not part and piece of a country. People are very resilient. And they really need an opportunity to thrive ay qof walba oo walba uu dadaalaya marka but we need to learn how to give it back aad iyo aad baad u mahadsantihiin jazaakum allah khayr wa salaamu calaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do you have any questions? Yeah? Okay, that's
you guys can ask questions. We're open for Q&A now, so feel free to ask any questions. We're going to have a mic going around, so you can just raise your hand and we'll bring the mic to you. Good. I'll give the mic to you. Feel free to protect. I know you have a strong point.
Yeah, أنا أعتقد ما فهمت هاي وليه ويان عمود foundation كنت شقاء أدو ونعرف اللي قبتها وأنا organization أنا قبعة سومالي أيلا هاي عام النقدية الدنيا دول الشقية هذا السؤال كهذا الشيء بعد تقولوا أنا يرتي وضعهم كو جامعاتي وحكى صبحيكم أنا شقنا ماشي متحول مركا system كي واحد برشيد واحد حكى كذا كي حرفة دي لما بري مركا سيدا أي الله سبحانه كرا هذه حتى أنا الدولة بكيمة لكن ده تقول بتشوفي كمان وضع كيكون نقدر أي technical skills كي أي وتم يكون عديان sometimes ما راعي حتى أعطيني كل ما محيا مركا مثلاً هاي اسمه حركة وماشى في نقمت هاي تدي حتى هربين نحكوا على الماشي أي سي عديدي أي وضع كي أي وقف هاي معي.
السؤال wanaagsan weeye جزاك الله خير. I think and that's what our discussion needs to be. cid wax laga sugaa Soomaali waxa tiraahdaa cidna ma maqnaacayno ma qadna soo lama yiraahdo truly waxyaalo badan baa wadankii u baahan yahay laakiinse maxaan qaban karaa anigu maxaan qaban karnaa jamaca iska saarno meesha anigu as an individual as a guuleed maxaan qaban karaa waxaad qaban kartaa waxa weeye at least connect with someone way talentkii meeshii u jiraa jaamacadii way jiraan laakiin se waxaad arkaysaa qof masterate baan haystaa haddana can read and write weliba inakun maaha Somali region of Ethiopia is the same weliba inaga sii daran Somaliland ka sii daran marka waxa weeye I think inaan inaku dib isugu noqon karnaa how can we contribute as an individual dawladdu waa inay sheegay tayadeedu waa 7% of the whole budget maxaa ma qaban karto laakiin se inaku maxaan qaban karnaa inaku waxaan qaban karnaa waxa weeye saan ku sheegay inaan sameeyno inaan isku xidhno how can we improve qofku hadduu wax barto hadduu xitaa wadanka shaqo ka waayo he can go countries u dhow ama Emirates oo kale wuxuu tegi karaa Qatar oo kale tegi karaan hadday wax bartaan qofkii wax barto laakiin sida we have to match the right talent imika niman badan oo halkan waxa jira IT qofku hadduu cyberspace barto Qatar needs people like that person hadduu qofku hadduu new talent ka hadduu barto marka wadankan hadduu ka shaqeeyana hadduu wadan ka shaqeeyo yes but hadduu shaqo ka waayo meel kale talentkiisi meel kale u tagaan he will give it back to the community marka but that is inaku inaan isku noqono what can we do next question I think I hope inaan ka jawaab guuleed ma kaaga jawaab next question yeah Abdi Dahir aye board member Abdullah engineer by professional is a electric engineer he has a double major Talyaaniga uu ka soo baxay Somali National University
ciyaar badan oo jaamacadii Somaliland ka baxaa jira shaqadaana meesha ugu jirtaa waa la sheegay hal yar oo qabyaalad la yiraahdo meesha way taalaa oo maxaa la yiraahdaa elephant in the room la yiraahdo society marka haddii qabyaalad ku dheeraynayo wax bartay kan wax baran iyo ku kastaaba haddii baashu ay u tahay maxaa la yiraahdaa front page sidee marka labadan ardaygiisu ka soo baxay ee number 1 ka ahaa wanaagsanaa تايلو شغال هذه هاي بجماعة وحكسوا برتاع ما وحكسوا نكسر عليه وشغال كهلا لكن هذه قبيلة شيء يسوي لكن لأن لو تشوف بس هذا شو خرجوا كيف فايدة ما لابركا أمين هذا هو الصح عليه هذه community يسبدل وياه أو بجماعة سنبتاعنا هاي ستا قبيلة دمنا كستاعين كانت لكم أنت أول ما تنقرنا يسمى ده هو كسيني يا see loo address garan karaa. It's not something that you guys can address right now oo halka laguma address garan karo. Laakiin community ummaddeeda waxay u baahan tahay in garasa frodka like la hor bahashari way sii socotaay balan soo xakameeyo. I mean at some point you will be see that the waxa lagu soo wada xakameeyo wada aasayo ma garanaysa. At least at some point waa la aasay reality oo loo muddo jiray. Laakiin hadda waa it's all right in front of you. Marka waxaan maleynaya in lagu wada istaagno inta qabyaalad wada.
I think qabyaaladu laba kan differentiate garayna aniga to my opinion. One is qabiil iyo qabyaalad. Qof walba reer buu ka dhashay. And I went to school, middle school kayga sheekh baan tagay. reer iskuma leejino. I'm telling you. Sheekh dadka degan Ciise Muuse degan some of you deerayaan qolo la yiraahdo ka sii iyaga xitaa qolona bari bay raaci jirtay qolona galbeed bay raaci jirtay. So qabyaalada I think phenomenon nagu cusub imika waxa weeye wuxuu noqday cancer buu noqday. And I think that Abdi is saying in la xakameeyo way wanaagsan tahay laakiin se annaku qudeen I think the other issue is recognize inaan horta problem in haystadan Somaliland. Why 12 steps anonymous alcohol anonymous. Number 1 step hadaad rabto inaad ogolaato ood leedahay yes problem by haysta qabiiladaana. And then we need to move on. And I think I have to give a credit to Somaliland. Somali maanta run iskuma sheegto. At least there has been some discussion in Somaliland. Yes, qabyaaladii meel xun bay maraysaa. Laakiin at least dadkii markay isku yimaadeen at least they recognize the issue. So I think that is yes sir.
Yeah, I have a question for you regarding Hamoud is an NGO in a way, right?
Yes sir.
So there's a lot of hesitance when it comes to NGOs in general. And if I use West Africa as an example, right? There's like billions invested into digging wells and whatnot, right? And what happens is they build it, people have water for a set duration of time, and then they don't teach them how to maintain it. Some people sell the copper for money, and then now you do the same thing all over again. So it's kind of like a pariah, like a cycle, you know? So the old adage of teaching men how to fish versus fishing for them, how can that be implemented within Somaliland? Does Hamoud have any mechanisms for that?
I think that's a problem. That one of the advantages of Hamoud Foundation, I think, like any other NGO, is we know the landscaping. There are 3 water well projects that we do in Somaliland and all through Somalia and Kenya and Ethiopia. Number 1 is basic. People die. They die for hunger for a long term, but they die for thirsty. So what we do is, we're familiar with the landscape. So what we do a basic water well that we go to 10 meters down, and we put a covering, and there's a jug. So it doesn't need a pump, doesn't need anything. So that is for people traveling or people for the nomad, they can use it. They can, our people go from A to B looking for water and looking for grass or grass for their animals. So that's the basic for them. And we do an inspection at least once a year. Last year, 2025, less than I think 2% were not functioning, and we make sure that we go back and take care of it. The second we do, and this happened to us especially, we dig some water wells in Sahel, and we put a generator and a tank, and the tank was gone maybe less than a month. So you're right. So we stopped doing water when we tank in, unless it's a village. So that's what we do. The third item, the third water well we do now in Somaliland is a water well with a tank and also a solar. But that we do in a village, or somebody has to be a caretaker. And so he has to sign a legal document that's saying that he's going to use for his farm or for his village, but he has to also make sure that the people get advantage. He cannot sell the water. He cannot say you are Qabil Hebel and Qabil Hebel. That happens all. So we make sure that we get a document signed by the guy who is going to be responsible for the water well. But we are aware of it. That happens. We see a lot of NGOs that they do water wells and they put a pump and the spring breaks and then it's non-functioning. You cannot get water. But since we know the area, we don't put water pump at all in our water wells. Any other question? Yes, sir.
The last one,
Yeah. Yeah.
the new generation, I think nothing can change overnight. It takes some time, long time for us to see change. But I think the new generation,
حاجة قبيلات الآن بويات especially قبيلات عندنا وصلوا وبتشوفها وانت كلفت تقول هذول في سنتين قبيلات والقبيلات is a lot less. So I think as long as we keep making strides, you know, not trying to eradicate it right away, that's impossible. But as long as we see a trend in the right direction, I think that helps a lot. So we're all trying our best.
Absolutely. Exactly.
And the last follow can do that. And if any of us here wants to support the work that you're doing, is there a website where we can go?
Yeah, I have some flyers, inshallah, there. I'll give it to you. I think I just want to conclude. You have a question?
anigu yani waxa de horan waa dawlad uu sheegay jaamacado badan baa waddanka dhisan aan quality lahayn anigu ma qabo waxaas leeyahay qofku inuu jaamacad ka soo baxaa muhiim maaha qofku inuu skills leeyahay baa muhiim waddankan waxaa iminka ka maqani waa working class skills shaqooyinka ugu weyn iminka ee waddanka laga qabta dawladda loo shaqeeya dadkan iyo dawladdan sidii loo kala goyn lahaa large scale manufacturing waddankii muxuu ka sameyn dadkii plumbingkii loo badi lahaa electriciankii loo badi lahaa wadamada yadeed ka soo sheekaysa ee Korea iyo Malaysia intii hore 50s iyo 60s jaamacado kumay degdegin dadkoodu waxay badeen skillskii sida wax loo qabto sida waddankooda loo dhiso sida wadooyinka loo dhiso plumbing loo noqdo electrician loo noqdo waddankooda iyagaa dhistay iyagaan cidna dibadda uga yeerin marka waxaan qabaa Amoud Foundation ee waa organization out usoo dhisnaa aad wax u qabtay maybe the next step waxay waddankii sidii large scale manufacturing aan uga samayn lahayn dadkan iyo dawladdan oo kala goyn lahayn and I believe dadkan iyo dawladdan haddii la kala gooyaba waan dawladdan loo arkaynba economic factorkii ugu weynaayo waddanka ka jiray hataa qabyaaladu bay iska yaraanay
agree absolutely agree 100%. Dawladda hadday ku siiso nabad I think that's enough. I think dadku inaan inaku isku tashano waxyaalaha inaga maqan inaan ka hadalnay waxyaalaha aan ilaabay aan ka hadlo waxa weeye not only education human productivity ba zero waddankeeni Somali meel kasta ha joogtay whether they are in Kenya iminka if you go to Garissa we have projects in Garissa dadka shaqeeya waxa weeye waa dadkii Afrikaankii Somali ma shaqeynayso maanta Hargeysa haddaad tagto Oromo, Kenyan, cid walba, Uganda, cid walba ka shaqeysanaysa. Marka I think that is one of the things that inshallah we need to address. And we have some inshallah projects on the works inshallah Amoud inaan samayno engineering and technical school inshallah. The challenge is waddankii dhulkii waa la wada qaatay. You know Hargeysa haddaad maanta waxbaan ka samaynayaa tiraahdo you will not find a place. Same thing Borama. Bur'a ugu roon. Bur'a yeah? I have a land for you. Yeah, Bur'a yeah, okay. Bur'a ugu roon oo wali dhulkiyaan la qaadan. Laakiin se Hargeysa, Borama, Berber, one of the things aan comment garaynana mayorka Berberaad Abdurrashid dhulkii la iibiyay buu dib u soo iibsaday. Dawladdu bixisay. And really if you go and talk to Abdurrashid aad iyo aad ugu mahad celiya. He's the only one who did a good job waddankii. Laakiin se Hargeysa maanta ma jiro dhul dawladi leedahay. Wixii dhan waa la wadeeyay. Borama is the same. I think waxaan kusoo gunaanadayaa the lesson for today is simple but powerful. Nations don't rise by chance. They rise by choice. The choice to invest in education is the choice to invest in people. Dadkeeni inaan wax gelino way. If we make that choice consistently, the future we want to be is a dream. It will be a reality, inshallah. Soomaali waxay oran jirtay aqoon la'aan waa iftiin la'aan. And that's what Malcolm X was talking about. We have to find the right education. Maanta 100, wadan dadkeeni, ummadeeni, where they are. Anigu waxaan xasuustaa aabbahay beerool ahaa, I think in early 1920, 2025, ayuu from reer guuraa to beeroola noqday. Everything wadanka wax walba uu soo saari jiray except dharka aan xidhanano iyo shaah iyo sonkor. Maanta toontii ayaa China laga keenaa. Toontii baa China laga keenaa. Yementaa ayaa caani weli laynooga keenaa civil war ku jirta. Marka I think one more time, cidna uma maqna, ceelna uma qodna. Marka inteennan oo dhan nimooda sugaysa qof walba ayay sugayaan. Haddaan wax ku celin weynana, who is going to? Marka aad iyo aad baad mahadsantihiin. Wajazaakum Allah khayr. Wassalaamu calaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That was beautiful. And thank you guys for engaging and asking questions. Abdul Foundation has a very long relation with SLPA, and they've done amazing work together, and they hope to continue that, inshallah. I believe there is the link, www.abdulfoundation.org, that you guys can look up and see if you want to donate today. You got to start from day one. So, inshallah. Next, we're going to be going for Dhuhr prayer, your lunch. So lunch will be coming in soon, inshallah. And Dhuhr and prayer, I believe, is 129. So we have a space in the next room for you to pray. So just ask one of us and we'll direct you there, inshallah. But I'll make an announcement when lunch is here. But it's here. We just have to set it up right there. And we want to shout out to Cafe Medina. They did an amazing job, mashallah, for bringing us in here. We're supporting our local businesses. So thanks so much to them.
Somaliland business.
Oh yeah, I will play that. There we have an Abood Foundation video. So as we wait for the lunch to be set up, I will be playing that.
And we have a good panels here today, inshallah. So make sure at the end, there will be Q&A. So you make sure you are attentive when listening to their journey and everything, and make sure you have questions to ask at the end. So we'll allocate 10 minutes for you guys. And inshallah, we'll go ahead and get started. How are you feeling? Good? Alhamdulillah. Okay. So, I think we're ready. Inshallah, to get to know everybody, what we would do is first, everybody would introduce themselves, and you guys would tell us, inshallah, a little bit about you, where you're located, what do you do, and then your journey to where you are today. So we'll go ahead and get started with Hannah. We'll start from down there. Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Hannah, and I live in DFW now. I'm originally from Seattle. Have lived there majority of my life. I came to starting my origin story, but I came to the United States as a preteen and started my education in 6th grade. Went through, high school, university. Go Huskies! If anybody's from Seattle, and I really wanted to get into larger NGOs. That was the thing, to help and give back when I was in college. And so I was heading to the UN or one of those larger NGOs internationally, and got into nonprofits from that, like as a starting point, and started up with working with individuals who were new to the country and helping them find employment, interview prep, and that type of stuff. Then got into grant writing. I realized I was good at that, and so I got into development work, and then eventually moved to a deputy director role where I was managing programs But nonprofit took a toll, and I pivoted more recently into the corporate world. I'm now at Amazon business as working with sellers who sell on Amazon, suppliers, and have a portfolio of over 1 billion in sales, like annualized sales with those big companies, and essentially supporting them in making B2B sales and growing their businesses. Yeah.
That's a big portfolio, actually. Hey,
It ain't
one
mine,
good,
but-
1 billion, huh? All right, pass it down. We'll go to Luled, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Guled Elmi. I was born and raised in Hargeisa, Somaliland. I finished my high school in Hargeisa, and then I moved to Maine. That's where I did my undergraduate in electrical engineering and computer science. And then I started pursuing masters in robotics and AI. So in the last 5 years, I've been working as a robotics engineer in the AI, robotics and AI engineer. One of the areas of application I've been working on mainly in the security and the defense applications, but also I have been doing on my own, being the healthcare applications, especially to with respect to Somaliland. I am really, really interested in how AI could be used to back home, really. Especially, we know how, AI is being used in the developed world, but, what about Somalia? What about Africa? So that's really the main question that I've been kind of trying to answer. So that's one of the reasons that I went to robotics, because that's a field that not a lot of people go into robotics. So I started tutoring and mentoring people, especially one of the main things was when I go back to Hargeisa, I try to kind of encourage people to pursue technical skills, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and that. And that is one of the things that I've been, I was asking questions about Mahmoud Eyal, how do we get that to our country? How do we build these schools that actually produce people with skill? Not only, these degrees that they will never use after breakthrough. So inshallah, that's one of the discussions we can talk about today, and hope we can get results.
Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salafa Abdi, and I am a general dentist and a mom of 2 little ones. And right now we are in Dallas, and we relocated here recently, about 7 months ago. I grew up in Ohio, and I went to Ohio State for both undergraduate as well as down school. We've lived kind of all over, but I've practiced in Ohio, also in Michigan, also in Virginia, and now finally, alhamdulillah, we're settling in Dallas. We mostly moved to Dallas for the Muslim community and for the kids' futures, but my focus has shifted a little bit from general dentistry to airway dentistry the last few years. And I'll talk more about that throughout the panel. But yeah, I've always loved to be in healthcare. And early on when I was in high school, I couldn't decide between medicine and dentistry. And I did a lot of volunteering and shadowing. And I always recommend and encourage students to explore and go out into different careers so that they don't force themselves in early on until they realize what it takes to be in that field. And through the shadowing and volunteering, I sort of honed in and focused on dentistry and stuck it through, and alhamdulillah, that's what I do now.
All right, assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalid Ahmed Ibrahim. I'm an internal medicine and pediatric physician in Dallas. I've only been here 7 months, alhamdulillah. I practice as an internal medicine hospitalist, and most people don't know what a hospitalist is. It's in the word. If you get admitted, you get in the ward, in the room, we'll take care of you in the hospital. My journey, alhamdulillah, it's been multiple places. We've been through in Columbus, Ohio is where I did my schooling and middle school, high school, OHIO, kind of go Buckeyes if everybody's doing different things. But yeah, so that's my journey, and we'll talk more through the panel. I feel very blessed, alhamdulillah, to be in front of you guys, and we'll discuss more, inshallah.
Gee, mashallah. It's good. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Why am I sitting next to this guy who's going to send me to it? The man was Salafi. Amdu asked me if I can either speak Somali or English. So since the majority here is say wallahi, I will speak. I will go with English. So my name is Dahir Noor. I am from Somaliland. I was born in the city called Garadak. So I'm gonna go further. Wari, east of Somalia. Majority of us
You're from East. Yes. I'm from Bra. From a bit. Yes. You say, oh, I'm from Abyss, or I'm from Bor. Even if you're from Kila, you say, I'm not. Oh, well. But I'm from city called Garadak. That's where I was born. That's where I was studying in my elementary school. And then I moved to the southern Somalia, Mogadishu, and few other places. And that's where I completed my education back there. And then I traveled from Somaliland a long time ago. Went to United Arab Emirates, worked there at a company called ADNOC. It's a petroleum company there. And after that, traveled to here in the States. And I came to Chicago, and I continued my studies in Chicago. I stayed there for a long time, more than I stayed in Somaliland. I was in Chicago. Became basically melted in that community. The community was very small, but then went to school, graduate. Then I started working as a technologist. So my background is basically technology when it comes IT. So I cover a lot of areas, whether it's a telecommunication or databases. So that's my background for education. I worked for major companies, Hewlett Packard, and also Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is a commodity trading for. So I worked those major companies. I moved to Austin. Now you're all saying you moved to much. I'm a nomad. So I moved to Austin 2013, and I worked there, and then I moved here to Dallas area and Frisco, and I've been here since then. So and that's it.
Appreciate it. Round of applause for everybody. So I think you guys have a good idea of everyone. Alhamdulillah, now we'll go ahead and get started with the questions. So, Badus, give us the questions. What do you want to ask?
Coming back. Yeah. So I feel like here we have a different audience of like in different lives, different levels. And I'm sure there is a lot of students in here, including me. Not Mamduha, sorry, you corrected. So this question is about how a lot of us don't have linear education background. Can you tell us more about your educational journey and your advice for first generation students seeking higher education? So we're saying portions of my education. Can you guys hear me? But I would say that the for initial portions of my education, it was fairly linear. I went to, from middle school, high school, went to university, completed, graduated. I think some of the more non-traditional aspects of my education was that I lived on campus my first year, and that is something that a lot in our community don't experience. And I think that was really great in sort of developing who I am as a person and experiencing my life away from my parents. And I also did a study abroad, which is really amazing experience for me. So if you are in university right now and have those opportunities, take advantage of it, especially the study abroad, because it's a way for you to get supplement your expenses, but still see something outside of your experience, like your immediate environment. I think one thing that I was talking to a few students earlier about is something that I wish I'd done more was really getting into environments where you're networking, where you're meeting people, where you're kind of figuring out, just like Suakha said, like figure out what you want to do. But once you've decided on a path, find a way to gain experience in that path. I think that would be my biggest point of advice. Don't, like if you have to work for money and you have to work at McDonald's or wherever to get your money, yes, do that. But if you're going on a medical path, then go work at an office, a medical office, or tell them you're volunteering. Do whatever it takes to gain some experience before you graduate, because that is essential to your growth. You can get a job without experience, and you can't get experience without a job. So you got to figure out a path between those. But yeah, that's stay.
Perfect. Love to hear it. Now we'll go and ask Mr. Robotics guy. We got a perfect question for him, inshallah. So, Guled, if you take the mic, your question would be, inshallah, what's artificial intelligence? and how are different industries using AI today? Because a lot of us, we have heard of AI so many times. So I want you to give us a little background of what AI is, what your idea is about AI, and then how it's reshaping the workforce. How are the workforce people using it?
Thank you. Good question. So to keep it really simple, we can just define AI as systems that, from tasks that are usually that's required to do with intelligence, such as classifying image, understanding the pattern of the data, predicting whether there's going to be a fraud or not. So all these systems that have trained a large amount of data sets, and you can use that system to actually perform tasks for it. So at a high level, how we can kind of classify or describe AI as that. There's three main. AI can be grouped in different ways. The one that usually resonates with me is the first one is predictive AI. AI that has learned, that's been trained with massive amount of data, and then you can get an input from the user and can give you a prediction. A good example of that is recommendation systems for social media platforms or for metrics. They learn from the user's interactions and what they like, and then they use that information to kind of predict what content should I recommend to the user next. Social media, posts also use that. Another example of prediction AI could be how banks use to kind of predict fraud. Because they've been trained with a lot of fraud data, and then they know when there's a fraudulent transaction, so they can use AI to kind of do those kind of predictions. Another one that all of us have become very, really familiar with, another group, is generative AI. That AI is AI that can create a new content. It could be an image, it could be a text, it could be audio, it could be video, and ChatGPT, Cloud, that's a good example of that kind of category of generative AI. The industry that I work is physical AI. Physical AI is kind of different because it has the ability to sense the environment. It uses sensors like text sensor, cameras, radars, and then it gets that information from the world and then uses decision-making AI to kind of do make sense of it, and then it recommends commands or things to kind of actions. Good example is self-driving cars. They're able to they can steer around an obstacle because they go through that kind of the steps. So at a high level, the AI can be grouping into those. A lot of industries are adopting AI. Customer care, especially a lot of call centers are automated with in voice generated AI, and also healthcare data. And I was talking to one of the doctors. Open evidence is now it's like ChatGPT for healthcare. Doctor can do that research and everything that they want with open evidence, and it's not going to hallucinate. One of the problems of AI is hallucination. It sometimes gives you wrong information, but they fix that because they use reference data, right? AI can only get the data from that reference. So AI can be applied in so many ways. It's still at its early infancy, but as we kind of understand, a lot of comments are going to pop up. It's going to be a major kind of disruption to the economy, though.
Thank you so much. And also, guys, don't be afraid of AI. I know a lot of us use ChatGPT day to day, and I'm like, oh, it's not gonna take over the world. Next question is for our Dr. Sulekha. You have focused a lot on airway-centered and whole-body dentistry, which is something a lot of people are not familiar with. Can you explain what that means and why it's so important for overall health?
Yeah, so I got into area dentistry and at the time I was dentistry for about 9 years. So I graduated high school in 2013. So I'm not entirely in the say wallahi generation, not fully, somewhere in between. But yeah, so the student. I think we are lifelong students, right? So even my kids, when I was doing my training for airway dentistry, they're like, Mama, like you're done with school. Like, what are tests that you're doing? What are these exams that you're studying for? But you never stop learning. You never stop growing in any field that you're in. And I think that came at a time that I really needed a new pivot, because in dental school, you learn a lot of what we know as dentists, right? It's very mechanical. You learn the science, you learn the anatomy of the tooth, and it becomes very much, what's wrong with this tooth? Let's fix it. Let's put a plan on it. Let's put a filling in it. But airway dentistry allows you to kind of zoom out and look at a patient as a whole, and not only address the problems that the teeth are having, but kind of figure out the root cause of why that patient is having these problems. So for example, if a patient is not sleeping well, they're not breathing well, they're a mouth breather, you go back to their childhood, if they were thumb sucking or, had very severe allergies, How did that change the development of their jaw? How did it affect how many cavities they're getting now? How did it affect some chronic illnesses that they have currently, whether it is sleep apnea or even that can eventually lead to more systemic issues like heart issues. And once you kind of get a better picture of that patient and their needs, you're able to treat their dental needs as well. And it's all very much connected. And it sort of kind of broke the monotony that I was feeling in my career. And because at a point when you are doing the same thing for a long time, you do need a change without entirely leaving your career. And it's nice to have different venues to grow and expand without fully abandoning what you're doing. Like,
Suleha, before you pass the mic, just quick follow up. How many hours should you be sleeping? Like, if you have a advice for, because sleep is a big thing. A lot, especially the younger generations now, we all know like we spend a lot of time on our phone. So, what's the average? I mean, adults is different. So, like adults think and has those some people 5 hours. So, what's your advice in that?
honestly, if you're sleeping less than 8 or 9 hours a day as an adult, it's not ideal. And of course, we have certain responsibilities and things that we need to address, but sleep is so vital, especially in those, early years where you're still a student and you're still learning. So much happens when you're asleep that your body just needs to function properly. And it's not only the quantity of your sleep, it's the quality of your sleep, right? So you could be in that, and I noticed that with my children, and this honestly helped personal health issues as well as my kids too, because when my daughter was in kindergarten, her kindergarten teacher asked me like, hey, is Asia getting a good dinner at nighttime? Is she sleeping well? Does she be really tired at the end of the day? And she was in bed for like 10 hours, but she was mouth breathing at night, or she was grinding her teeth, or she was snoring. So it's that quality of sleep that really affects development, and something that a lot of parents and even me as a dentist at the time wasn't even aware of. So it's not only time, but also quality of your sleep. And yes, phones are such an issue. Even for me, that's something that we always have to be aware of, and making sure that you're prioritizing your sleep and your health over just kind of scrolling.
Yeah, we'll remember quality versus quantity. When it comes to sleep, inshallah. We'll pass it on to the next doctor, inshallah. I don't know why the doctors that sitting right next to each other. But, oh, mashallah, I know. I was just joking. I was aware. So, Khalid, Dr. Khalid, the question for you would be, medical school is a long journey. So a lot of people, especially the Somali community, at least those I've seen, they struggle through medical schools in terms of when it comes to education, because you have to spend a lot of years to be a doctor. So what mindset help you stay in be committed to your goal of becoming a doctor?
Yeah, everybody, like, how long we miss school? Are you really sure? I think you don't have a mindset at the big ages. Grinding for it. The thing about, oh, it's not working. I think the thing about is just that the community around you and their mindset affects you. When you tell somebody, when I was going through school, medical school, they're like, oh man, you sure? All your friends are doing something else. Everybody's doing something else. But other communities, becoming a physician, becoming a dentist, do whatever profession, that is normal. That's not a big deal at all. It's not even a thing. Oh, I'm become a So you just have, once we realize, okay, that's the path I've chose, and you are some of who you're around with. It's just how it is. So if your friends are, you have people around you we're studying Monday to Friday, we're taking a break on Saturday, we're enjoying ourselves Saturday, Sunday. On Sunday morning, we're reviewing, and Sunday evening, we're hanging out. If that's your friends, that's what you're going to do. But if your friends we're enjoying ourselves Monday to Sunday, it's just once you realize that, people around you kind of affect you, your community affects you, and you already have a goal, then things already kind of move forward. It just falls down the path. Then it's going to be hard to put a brakes. But if there's already a break in front of you from everybody being so shocked, then you start thinking to yourself, do I really want to go through this? Having that mindset, like, it's not a big deal. Everybody's doing it. If he can do it, I can do it. If you can do it, I can do it. This is who I am. I'm doing this. Then it becomes okay. So
surrounding is very important.
yeah, it's very important. Right, and also just kind of have the right people around you, and just make sure people around you don't make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm physician. When I was, if I look back, if somebody told me the physician, I'm like, oh man, you're a doctor. It shouldn't be that way. You should be like, okay, fine, he did his, he did his thing. Congratulations. Let's move on.
Yeah. I also want to say the time is going to pass no matter what you're doing. So you might as well work towards a goal that you set your mind to and not worry about time passing. Because whether you're working towards something that you want to do or, pivoting to something that you may think is easier, that time is going to pass you by. Right?
Okay. Yeah. No, you're next of it, okay? And so you can keep in mind. This question, I think it's very relatable, especially to me and Bundur and some other students who are international students currently. And I think Dahir has also been through the same journey. So I wanted to know more about, if you could tell us more about how you came to the US and your just your life as an international student and any culture shock that you have been through, one being a student here.
Okay. Let's move from biology to physics. So when I came to Chicago, the States, of course I was international student, and I had to pay my schooling. So there was no government aid, there was no aid. So the difficulties at that time was that you have to pay your school, and also you have to pay your living, and that was difficult to maintain both. And it took me to finish school and to finish college. It took me for a long time because you have a life to balance. You have to pay your bills, and you also have to go to schools. And it took me a long time. But the other side of that is when you come here as an international student, you might have a language barrier, and you think when you come from back home to here, you think you know English, but really when you face the real world and you go out there, you don't know English, so you're gonna struggle. Is like one of my ESL classmates, the teacher asked, who lives in the east, and the lake is next to us, and he goes, fish. So he's not wrong. The fish lives there. So the difficulties are blend. The whether it's coming to language, whether it comes the environment that you're gonna live in. Like when I came to Chicago, it was cold, and it's coming from 90 degree to 0 degree. It's a huge difference. So those were the challenges that you go through when you're an international student. The environment is part of it. The language is a barrier, and those are the major things that you face. And also, um, you might say that you might come to something that you don't know, and you say that, okay, I want to fit the culture, and you might start hanging out with the bad people instead of sticking with know your background that you came from, know where you come from, and just don't melt it into the community, into the environment that you're in. Just it will support you, it will keep you going if you know where you come from and the background that you came from. So always keep that in mind. That should be your mindset. Where you came from should be part of it, and that's the advice that I would give to the new arrivals.
Thank you. We definitely have a lot of new arrivals, so they would take that with them, inshallah. And we'll go back to Hannah. So you guys heard a little bit about Hannah's career. She did a pivot. She changed her career. So the question I would like to ask Hannah is, a lot of students here, they pick a major, maybe when they're from high school, their parents tell them, hey, you should major this major, then they end up taking that major, and then maybe they end up not liking that major when they're finished college, or they don't find a job when they graduate. So my question to you is, for those anybody in this room who could relate, you made a pivot. You changed your career from nonprofit to the corporate world. What motivated you to do that, and what was that process like?
Thank you. The main, I think for me specifically, I really was excited about working in nonprofits. It was really something that drove me because it was me giving back. It felt like I had impact. And so I was really excited about it. However, it's something that takes a big toll on you. And so after over 10 years of working in the nonprofit world and feeling like I could positively impact somebody every single day, but I also did not have the capacity to make real change. So I could help people, but it's extremely resource constrained. And anybody who's worked in any sort of nonprofit can tell you that. There's not enough funding, and the funding that comes in is earmarked for this or that. And a lot of the time, you're not getting paid enough to do the work that you're doing, nor are you doing enough to make a sustainable change in, the group of people that you're supporting, that you're working with. So it always it felt fulfilling until it didn't, until I was taking home all the negative feelings, until I felt like I know so many bad things that people are going through, and I'm extremely powerless to do anything about it. And it became, it's just a negative environment in your head, right? Like a mindset where you're dreading where you're going. And then COVID happened. And, a lot of us experienced the bad and the good of COVID, but that was a time a lot of change occurred as well in my life. And so that was a period where I was working from home, and it felt like I could pivot, and I looked for something outside of my comfort zone. And I think the biggest thing I could tell you is, if you're looking to change, or if you're considering something that you think is not in your tool set right now, it's not in your skill set, don't let that hold you back. Because I could never, first, what is it called? Corporate America. That was just not a thing when you're in my environment, the people I was around. Nobody's doing that. People were coming from corporate America to join nonprofits and to retire nonprofits, right? And so that wasn't my experience, but I really wanted to do something that was completely outside of my comfort zone, because I was comfortable and I wanted to stay in that for the most part. But I also really needed to leave. And so I think that was what caused the pivot, was just trying to find something new. And I got into sort of Amazon and Amazon business specifically, mainly because it was a job that as soon as I read the title, I had literal dread. I didn't think I could do that, because it was just one of those things where you're talking to people all the time. You're trying to get them to do something, and that's very salesy, and not me. That wasn't me at all. I was the kid who didn't raise their hand when questions were asked. So very introverted, very quiet, and it didn't feel like something I should do. But I did, and I'm fantastic at it, to be completely honest. I'm really good at it. It was really easy to do. It's something that came more naturally than I assumed it would. And I've grown. I've got a promotion. I've sort of figured out how to do the job in my team, in my org, and hopefully I'll continue to grow and experience different aspects of the type of work that I'm doing, or something entirely different. But I'm very open to that now. And so I would say with that quote, that's do your best thing is beyond your fear. There's a quote. I can't remember it, but it's on the other side of your fears is what you need to be doing. So when you have a thought and something that you want to do, especially in school, or you're thinking, I really need a change, but you don't know what to change to, honestly, truly explore the thing that terrifies you, the thing that makes your heart drop, the thing where you're about to throw up when you think about it. Do that thing. Force yourself to do that thing. And you'll hate it maybe, or you love it, but who cares? Just do that thing.
And what's the lesson from that is, don't always be afraid of going outside of the box, trying things, even if it's, you think, oh, I've been doing this for all of these years, why would I change when I feel so comfortable with this? And I think even if it's changing your majors, I changed my major 4 times and I don't regret. So alhamdulillah, honestly, yeah, don't be afraid of trying, even if it's a hard, challenging thing.
Do it while you're afraid. Do it specifically when you're afraid. That, just do it while you're afraid. Especially when you're afraid.
Yes, you heard that right. Okay, Gulit, next. Since you spent you grew up in Somaliland since your high school, can you tell us more about how we can use AI is becoming a big thing now, how we can use AI to implement more projects, more things back home, or also like other developing countries as well?
So Somaliland, if you compare both private and public sectors, we generate vast amount of data. That's coming from companies or come from government. The biggest problem is about that there's no strategy for AI. Some people are just learning about what AI is, so it's really difficult to kind of get the government to understand or to kind of be a framework for that. So my kind of perception was, I think the best way to achieve AI fluency, at least to kind of get the portfolio, is to people start implementing projects. Right. So, for example, one of the areas that I see AI can really help is help them. AI is actually democratizing knowledge. Right now, you can get something that was in English, and AI is getting good at to get them into Somali. Right. So that would help a lot of people back home in Somalia who don't have the access to actually understand English language. They can access the medical research papers in a good Somali language, and that's going to help them. Not only the healthcare workers, but even the regular public, right? People are suffering diabetes or blood pressure. They don't even know that they have diabetes. So the problem is like the knowledge, and that knowledge comes from both awareness, but also empowering people so that they can research, they can go online, they can understand. So that's one area AI could help. Finance is really a big field. We have companies that Somalia is the mobile money system country. So we generate a lot of transactions, a lot of data, a lot of finance data, but we don't really use that data. It's just stored somewhere in some data center. So that is a question for the companies to actually make that data accessible so that people can mine that data and make sense of it. And then they can build a lot of applications. Could even create wealth for this company that data that they have. So apart from that, I think we also need to kind of focus on the education part, right? People back home, we focus a lot into these fields that actually don't train skills, right? AI is becoming a skill. Even using AI is a skill. So I think one thing that I wanted to focus on, not only in Somalia, but in general, the skills that AI is going to replace are repetitive, rule-based skills, things that are more instructional. AI is going to be good at that. They can automate that really good. So what AI is really good at is at a high level design, systems thinking, holistic view of the systems. This is what the humans are good at. Human can do that really well. So it's one of the things that I always recommend to people, not only in Somalia, but also everywhere, is you have to learn things that you can, how you can use AI to augment what you do. I think that would be a really important skill. How can you work with AIs? Now this anyone following you, there's agentic AI. This is a trending thing. You can actually create these agents that can work for you. But also, are you going to be able to manage these agents? Do you know when an agent gives you a bad thing? Can you fix that problem? So I think the employees, the employers are actually now looking for people who can work with AI. So in general, we need to be in Somaliland, even in here, we need to kind of create these skills that people can work with AI. They can, develop applications on top of AI systems. And at the same time, the government should also come up with a strategy. So I think that's the key takeaway.
Thank you, Gulet. That's a good lesson for us. And just a show of hands, how many of you guys use AI in some of or any form of way? Wow. So, Zulati, you proud? The whole room is using AI. So, mashallah. Mashallah. Okay, so next, Dr. Suleha. Your question would be, you have done a lot of mission work, not only in the United States, but also in Haiti, Uganda, and Honduras. How does this experience shape the way you practice and how you view the healthcare today?
Well, this kind of goes back to what I was saying, that as a student, you really have to take, especially as women, we had different, chapters in our life and different responsibilities. And these opportunities, alhamdulillah, came along when I was still towards the end of my dental school early career, before I had other responsibilities of being mom or a wife. So, and I jumped on it because I've always had a very global outlook to healthcare too, also being part of the Somali diaspora. My family's from Hargeisa, but I was born in Mogadishu, and we left Mogadishu when I was 8 years old. And I haven't got, when I was in Nellis Hole, I've never gone back to Somaliland at the time. But during our white coat ceremony, everybody had to write down where they were from. And I had Soraha Abdi, and most people, like other immigrants in class, had like where they grew up. And mine on the board came up and said Hadiza, Somaliland. And at the time, I've never even stepped foot in Hadiza, right? So I feel like having that sense of self and awareness and really be like knowing where you're coming from and then embarking on a career, it gives you a very global outlook. And I always wanted to do something to give back, not only in the States and underserved communities, but also back in Africa. And at the time, those are the countries that were available to me. Alhamdulillah, I highly urge, especially women students and when you're starting your careers, to really travel and explore and experience opportunities as they come along. And yeah, so going back to how that affected it, when you provide any kind of care to communities in underserved communities, it sort of strips it down to the basics, and then it makes you look at the person as a whole and what they need in that moment. When we are in the office here in America, it's easy to walk in and just kind of assume the treatment claim that you want to give that patient because you assume everybody's sort of on the same footing. But it lets you kind of step back and allow yourself to sort of put yourself in the person's shoes and think of what kind of treatment that they need to help them, not only while you were there doing the mission work, but also how to keep them healthy when you age. And it also shows you how integrated everything out is when it comes to access to care, education, just overall systemic health. All those things affect that person's ability to receive care or the state of health that they're in. And that carries on to a lot of communities, even in the States. So I was able to practice in Mansfield, Ohio, which is a very underserved community, also in Detroit. So being able to kind of cater the treatment to what that population needs was really helpful.
Okay, our next question is to Dr. Khalid. Anyone who's interested in medicine or in medicine already, make sure you're taking notes. So Dr. Khalid, as both a doctor and educator, what do you think is the biggest gap that you see a lot of young people that are trying to enter medicine today?
Biggest gap, I think we talked about a little bit. The mindset is very important. And just like the theme here is knowing who you are and don't be swayed. Don't be swayed left or right. If you up for it and if you're coming in for money, it's gonna be a long journey. But if you're coming in for the right purpose, we've seen COVID happen, we've seen other things. Then if you're not in there for right reason, then it can be overwhelming. A lot of doctors are burnt out. A lot of them are very stressed. And really, what brings you back to continue doing what you're doing, that is really the meaningful things you're doing. Even if it's simple thing as doing a prior authorization to get somebody that medicine that they need at that very moment, those are the things that keeps you going, and that's what keeps somebody having a long career. You see doctors who don't retire, even though retirement is like the best thing ever, right? You can go back to Gesa, have a little farm, and you have a little bit of so. But it really, what people what keeps you going is the meaningfulness in your work. And if you can find the meaningfulness in whatever you're doing early on, the easier your path is going to be. So everybody has to write a personal statement. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not real. You really have to think about your personal journey and say, why am I doing this? And then why is this so meaningful to me for my own life here? And connected to your deen, absolutely. Like, how shaqayna, because for the sake of Allah, doing this to help someone, then you ajra halisa at that moment, and also for your intention. And if you don't make it to your thing, you already got the ajr for it. It's a big thing to have the right intention. So I think that would be my thing for everybody. The gap is just to connect your meaningfulness and your intention and then as you any kind of ups and downs, you'll just go through it because you already have the right base. Yeah.
Best.
Other Lu, so he other Tahir Lu, the OG, mashallah. The question I have for him is he's not only a community builder, he's also, mashallah, he worked at so many different companies like HB, EO, and also Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So my question to you other is basically what are some key decisions or moments you have made while you were building your career? We already talked about your international experience when you came here, but also you have succeeded by breaking into these big companies. So we want to know what are some of the key decisions, key moments for you when you were benefiting as someone who is an international. What you said were in Chicago, right? So give us a little background, Sean.
I think it has to be, as I said, remembering your background and having a mindset of succeed, and early on just decided what you want to be. I think everybody mentioned here that nature changes. So you change your major. I changed my major. I went to university to wanted to be an aerospace engineer, and I was airport student, and they said you won't get a job. So I had to shift. So that's what happened. So that was a bad decision. That before I find out that I had to take some thermodynamics and fluid mechanics, which I didn't need at the end of the day. So that's wasting of time. So I think early on, make a decision early on in your college and your work career. Just make early decisions, and those decisions are consult with somebody that who works ahead of you, that who came here before you, that who went to this before you. So consultation always is a good thing to do. But the main thing that we all here, well, I think everyone here has education. We're all well educated. But the whole thing is that we have to remember Allah, as he said, and at the same time, we have to remember back home, and those that who we left, that who doesn't have the education, that there are multiple universities. There are a lot of universities, and I want to introduce to you a young university that's 3 years old. It's called Ibrahim Bara University, and that's in Garadak. That university is already producing a quality students. It's 3 years old, and last year, 4 students they get an internship at large corporations in Somaliland, in Hargeisa, like a Telasa. Telasa hired it. So those are like very bright students, and they study computer science. There's also electronics and electrical engineering courses that get the diaspora experts are giving those classes. So I think those are what we need to think about. We all educated here. We need to give it back as a community. We have to go and get it and give it back. And at the end of the day, I think I will give you the website, that WhatsApp, that you can join if you wanna give it back to that university. And we already talked to Guret to teach some of the AI, that exciting AI programs that he has to that university. So let's think about giving back. We all have the knowledge. Let's think about giving back. So basically, knowing where you're from, knowing what's behind you, knowing where you want to go back, will give you the motivation of doing the right things. So I think that was my pay, was that, I know where I'm from, so I have to be successful. I have to succeed in order to do that. That was my motto.
MashaAllah. That's good. That's a good lesson for everybody, inshallah. Don't leave your identity. That's one thing. And I feel like the more confident you are with who you are, because everybody's different. The person next to you right now, you don't know what they're struggling with. You don't know their issue, anything. Everybody's different. SubhanAllah, Allah created us unique way. So be proud of who you are. Everybody has, you know, good sides and bad sides, good days, bad days. So just be grateful, alhamdulillah. So we have so many questions to ask, but we want to open to the audience. We want to make it more interactive, inshallah. So if you have a question, we will have an open networking session at the end. So you make sure if you are interested in any of the industries that they are in, speak with them, get to know each other as well. The reason this event is held is so that you guys could network and build the connections, inshallah. So if you have not met anybody in this person before you leave tonight or today, you have to make sure you meet everybody, inshallah. So now we'll open to the audience. So does anybody have any burning questions? Who wants to start?
Yes, I'll let time.
Oh, okay. So I'm not the stats. I'm shot. So. Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I should say that as a panel, it's very impressive. I'm really, really proud of the Somali community, Somaliland community. It's really a sight to behold. I'm one of the old OGs. I've been here 40 years, mashallah. But it's really gives me hope. But what I really would like to ask the panel is, we emphasize that we have to give back. Each one of you, what do you see as giving back to Somaliland? In reality, we can be successful here. We can do a lot of things here. Personal wise, we can be very successful. But at the end of the day, it's what we really put back to the community back home. I am so proud of. I am really proud of Amud Foundation. I never met founder, but he knows every part of the country. He knows town I came from. He put water is that. But my point is, the panel I would like to ask, and actually I like a point he said. It's not what we can do, it's what I can be. So I really would like each one of you to talk about, considering your education, what you have achieved in here, what will you give back to Somaliland?
That's a really good question because I always think about, how can we give back to Somaliland? Every time I go, although I don't have a lot of time, I try to educate people about, what I do. One of the issues that we face is we don't have venues or spaces to actually educate people. You have to go to a university, you have to tell them, can we, rent their space? So there's no open spaces where I can go and I can organize these events. Sometimes it's really difficult to have that opportunity somehow. Another issue is sometimes, even if someone like me, if I go back, I have a couple of weeks, 2 weeks time, I can actually create small training. I can, help people actually keep them stuck while I need also spending time enjoying my time in Somaliland. But the problem is, what I do robotics. It involves electronics, it involves computers, it involves internet, it involves all these things. Do we have a space that I can move? So some of the issues, like I don't have the time for me to go back and set up these things. I only have time for limited time, right? So if that's not possible, one way I could get that is actually I can create short courses, or I can, interact academic. A lot of students actually reach out to me on LinkedIn, and they want to learn more about, coding or electronics or robotics, and I try to give back in that way as much as I can. But actually, I agree with you. We want to give back in meaningful ways. So something that's like teaching people skill, and that's one thing I would love. And as an also fact, as issues, we can create these spaces, equip them. It's not gonna be really just to give them computers and internet access to speed. And then people can go back, they can, teach courses, short courses, and actually people can create project. So project-based education. One week, they can create a project, they can solve the solution with this Somaliland. Within that week, they can come up with data, And actually, that would be really a more meaningful where people can use that skill, keep in touch. So as I believe that you can brainstorm it and come up with many different ways, but that would be some way that I.
So early on in my career, I thought the only way to get back would be to do down mission trips. And even though I didn't have the opportunity to go back to Somaliland, I really wanted to show up in these spaces because a lot of times the provider team that would be going, I would be the only one that would look similar to the patient population that we're providing help for. So representation really matters. But inshallah, as you know, I go on in my career, I think there's other ways to get back to, like mentorship. And we're a fairly young immigrant population. And inshallah, with time, more dentists, more positions and things, and we can form organizations where we can take mission trips back to Somaliland and also help in the dental schools and medical schools there. My sister, who's not in Dallas, went back to Somaliland a few times and helped the residents in the med school there too. So inshallah, that's something that we've always talked about that we hopefully want to do in the future. Yeah.
What else? Okay, I think that's a very good question. You know, we're balancing life here and then trying to balance family in Hargeisa. My dad is there. I see the medical challenges. I think there's a lot of collaboration that needs to be done. We need to learn from the Amud Foundation. Small steps can go a long way. You know, let's be real. You're not going to have a lot of time. You know, you have a big dream, but it really starts with a small thing. Personally, it's always been a challenge. But back in when am I going to do this? Well, I wanted to have this yearning to do something, but then you get it this rolling ball of thing and responsibility priorities. So my focus is really to kind of connect the students here that are coming here, and then inshallah, once we have sort of discussion together and we can do something small back there and whatever opportunity is available. So that's kind of like my thought.
Well, I think that we all agree that we have to keep it and we have to support Somaliland. And I think that we're already supporting, we're already giving it back. And those of us who in the diaspora for a long time, we participate all kind of projects that were going to Somaliland. Mostly it was hospitals and universities. So from study University of Hargeisa, University of Amud, University, all those universities, they were built as with contribution that the diaspora collected and sent it to Somaliland. And then that's how those support came. And a lot of things. The diaspora had been supporting Somaliland for a long time. Starting from when we were fighting with Seattle regime, we used to go to Washington, D.C. and close down the embassy, close down the street at the embassy is. And that's how we damage Siad Barre's government. It's the diaspora, besides those who are fighting back home. The diaspora has took a lot of part. They took a part. That's huge. So I think we can give it back. Every one of us can give back. Before it was hard, but now thanks to technology, it's easy to do something. Even if you are not going back home, you can still do something. So let's give a hand. I'm foundation. Have a go. Let's take the hand. Like you guy. Well, and you want to thank you, Pigal, your contribution to Somaliland, and just keep the good work, and we will support the organization as much as we can.
Thank you, Adela. I think we're short of time. Oh, you have it. Hey, go ahead.
Almost a lot that. I didn't on the point. I feel of course I said it.
So marka ugu horeysa aan maskaxdayda u dubo idinku hawshan aan idinku sheego wixii aan idinku dhaca meel fiican baad sheegtay marka horeysa alxamdulilah dhahay ilaa in bareedana keena inkastoo xaaskeeda hare jeclay khibradda maraykanka qaas marka haddaad ku jirtaan Somaliland waan ka hadalnay in badan waxbaa u qaban kartaa maraykan markaad joogto suuq baad tegeysaa waxbaad dayduusaa waxaad qabanaysa markaad shaqo doonanayso president orato waxaad u tegeysaa informatics tadbiir bihan waxa qaraaca president aad u biisay waxaa jira waxaa marka then you have to be set what do you say me no adaabkaas ka fabsa kugu weydiiyo direegoodka kan meefaateenitameedak you have to tell what going before that can that's all they did down here long story short story we go to the end what do you want to take if you don't get that you don't have a chance so if you're in school or before a career think about that now how are you gonna get there good feeding writing good English stick I think when I graduated a long time ago awesome smart guy but I don't know how to open the door somehow I said why which one goes with I'm serious I graduated from Texas Hamud Riyadh so jado paho Peter Tesbanti they must take some at the behind they said it you better color be gay Jin Virginia what 4 years my cash away or to go with that what kind of time we to keep at the are you currently what have what the rabbi song had the was the defeat education then that's about time we are the proga then all the color Korea Fossa Freud Fossa how this all Fossa you what sauce so how the demo si nan the go to the udarano sauce kalama Indio wala so taaro waxay joogaan halkan ay first isugu soo sabida maxay miida waxa ka furan data center soo halayda aad u badan dadna shayba anu rukenka kiba soo saaray soo la jib ايش في سخوباش وبك بريدي I it's why school هذا الشيء AI the only lie in what you didn't call it we will all create what so do that best applies sus but you have a good chance that tomorrow's what I say na sus was there tii waxaan Somaliland sidii koo dadbaado aad u biyaado soo balaasay waa ka dad badan ma ka soo waxaa badan waxaa jira shaakiyo waaweyn sinaayaa siuna yatas Dawada some is not right over here ina jara ci ka zaha out the what within no consider no good no waxay soo gashan baa besho waxay so how the demo you want to it they billions my samine community college or technology oo dad korta oo caruurta soo baxaysa jaamacadda ku barato farsamo magaca mid ودين وين بيرجسا تبرر هنا الكوين لقى دسي غير كده إندي تقولوا حق كان شقاء كيف في عنا العبر المكوسترين مركز ولا كي تكتو يقدر تجي وطبعا الحمق كي كمان بحاد عيبه ففي كلمة وتقرين هي حقاقات عن الدولة كير الصومالي ما نحبركت وفكاس الجروة كريم يوم فروتري جريد ساسي حد الواردو سيدا كان واردو للغادة سيدا فوق الواردو مكا حنا يعني Somaliland has a long way to go. sidee bay long way to go tahay dadkii gacanta ku hayeen waa in horumar keenaa halbaa haysan مثلنا كراند مي هاي ميجا تو كورس باك في البريكر ودي كان مايكرو ايكونومكس هاي سوا ساعتا هاري مالوير جيل بوير يفوس واسطبوها يبيرون بيرتا حتى بروكا ساعتو او بري قلبت وراها بيو سميسو او مثل قبلي حنون كات سميسو oo markii oo aan jiiveridii ka cabaan u samayso markaa waxa dheer hadde baqaana soo kale siyaarigeer lahaa jidbeelaya baatida soo galay kii beeraha laynama ixtiraamsana laakiin laamay shayka barnaamij hormar oo ummadday diisboka ee meesha bedela maxay kal waxaa loo abaalguday ilaan amarkii ma jirto dagaalma socdo lacag siinada ma ixtiraamsana gol baan lacag inama siinayo markaa waa inay tahay dadka waxay u baahan yihiin la caawino weliba beeraha agriculture rabtaa sidee waa inaas barnaamij u geysa oo jira kaa iyo kaa iyo kaa iyo kaa halkaasha biyoosho lacag intii ma jirto markaa Somaliland waxa bureedooda hawo qabta aan soo urusaa iyo kay Somaliland macafaas iyo habkiisa Greek hydrology hydrology se halagaga bilaabo bar hadbise mara kor looga faqo xagga baraha looga every 100 kilometers halaga qodo ee marka horan la ila abaar baa jirtay buudo kan dhaadeen Maxamed ciyaal soo waraan oo intu saacay saacayasha halaga hada ka cabaan
وصفي عن هذا الآد بعد ما صرت صعب على طول معريرة ما يصير بنعكس الصومالي ده هي ستلقى إن شاء الله and we would apply that إن شاء الله أكثر ما سنتين and panel كويتشو يعني how can so make sure يلا network ده إنسان صعب كلا بنا إياه yeah ده
Yeah, we short planted had opposite as we had the open network and so some everybody would be a diesel. You had any questions, they showed you group a personal questions or something. But not possible to say this.
So the youngsters in the community, I have an advice for you. That advice was given to me.
Yeah, can you guys quiet down real quick?
Yeah, that I will just pass on an advice that was given to me when I came to the United States. I had a roommate, and his father was with that idea. He was he used to be in Southwest government. He used to be the high level officer, and he came one day. He came for us, and you were sitting on the floor like Kitty. We were sitting on the floor. We were sitting on the floor and eating, and he gave us an advice. And that advice I want to pass on to you. His advice was, there will be three kind of people that will live here. One, he said that they would be melted into the U.S. and they will lose their mind. They will not educate themselves, and those people will be gone for some reason. They will be lost. And he said, no one will take money from here. You will not be rich in this country. Or what you can be is you can go back home with knowledge, or you can go back home that you still have your mind. You didn't use your mind. You didn't become drug addicted. You didn't become alcoholic. You didn't. So you go back with your mind. So everyone think about that. At least if you cannot get any education, or you're all educated, but I'm just passing on to the community that if you don't get education,
just go back with your mind. Don't lose your mind. Because I know those in Chicago that who lost their mind, none of us, very young people, none of us is with us today. They're all gone. Because they became alcoholics, they became drug addicted, and none of them are with us today. 4 of them I can remember. Young age they passed away because they just melted. They just melted with where they were. So that's just an advice that I want to pass to you.
Havana Plus, guys, thank you very much for the advocacy.
waxaan horta marka hore u mahadnaqayaa isaaq oo soo qabanqaabiyey iyo kooxdiisa fardeyso halka dama taagan xamda iyo dhammaan reer abaarso qaarkood oo halka fadhiya horta wada mahadsantiin dhamaantiin inaad ka soo qayb gashaan xafladan intaana marka hore ka hadal oil and gas iyo اللهم صل على محمد وحيابها الله حديدا industry maanta aanu qod kaga hadlay waxaan jeclaa inaan dhiiri geliyo in mar walba sidoo kale la isku yimaado way connection dad badan baa ka hadlay connectionsku iyo networkingku wuxuu ka mid yahay waxyaabaha saldhiga u ah inay ummaddu horumarto ingiriis aanu kuma hadlay aqaano marka waxaan isku dayayaa inaan Soomaaliga ku hadlo luqaduna waxay ka mid tahay ama afku wuxuu ka mid yahay waxyaabaha ay dadku isku afkartaan dhalinyaro iyo waxaan isugu jirnaa dad magaranaysaa dhaxaba odayaal odhan maayo islaame ciyaal baa inaga dambeyn doona haddii ay baydmo dad baa dee soo koraya marka haddii afkii la waayo waxaa meesha ka baxaya noloshii oo dhan baa ka baxaysa dhakhaatiir baa jooga dad badan oo skills ayaa dee xafladan ka soo qayb galay oo dhakhaatiir leh injineer leh arday leh horta waxa loo cararayaa ma aha in qofku helo lacag inuu helo doo ay ka mid tahay waxa iskuulka loo tagay laakiin waxa ugu muhiimsan waxa weeye in qofku nolol helo noloshaas aad magaranaysaa tacliinta aad ku gaaraysaa waxaad sidoo kale aad ku gaaraysaa haddii eebayn maayo inaad dee career samaysatidoo aad sidaa u horumartid topiga maanta aan ka hadlayaa waxa weeyaan dheerayn maayo waxaan isku dayaa inaan soo koobo mar haddii aan Dallas joogno Texasna aynu joogno anuu dee Houston baan deganahay waxaan ku dhex jiray industryga 10 years saliidda iyo gaastu waxay ka mid tahay economically meelaha ay tahay inaan ummadda kor ugu qaadno oo resource-ka ay ka mid yihiin sidoo kor ugu qaadi karnaa Somaliland waxay leedahay xamdaahid maxaan ku sameeyaa Somaliland waxay ku taallaa sida la wada socotaan meel strategy ah oo hadduu eebayn maayo dhinac walba markaad ka eegtid dee Sacuudigii baa nagu dhow geology-giisii waxay nagu dhow اللهم صل على محمد يمن waxaasoo dhan analog haddaad samaysid waxaad arkaysaa in resource-ka iyo strategically located area inaynu nahay aynu ku naalno waxaa laga yaabaa maanta Maraykan baanu ku noolay dhammaanteen haddii aynu haysan lahayn industries ka shaqayn lahaa Somaliland inaynaan maantaba halkan ku noolaan lahayn oo aynu dib ugu noqon lahayn marka contribution-kii ay cid walbaaba ka warramaysay wuxuu muhiim u yahay sidii aynu u develop garayn lahayn ama aynu u korin lahayn resource-ka aynu leenahay oo ay ka mid tahay اللهم صل على محمد saliidda iyo gaasta iyo minerals waxaan isku dayayaa inaan dedejiyo saana waqtiga idga lumin saliidda iyo gaasta Somaliland ku jirto oo in badan la baadhay ExxonMobil baa baadhay ConocoPhillips baa baadhay waqti badan ka shaqeynaysa 1952 bay bilowday dowladnimada Soomaalidu ma qaadan shirkadaha waxay u yimaanayeen Soomaaliya iyo Somaliland iyo Djibouti East Africa waxay u yimaanayeen si resource-ka oo helaan meelaha u badan yihiin resource-ku ma aha koonfur waa Somaliland weeyaan sida cilmi baadhis oo dhan loo sameeyay marka kaliya ay ka baxayaanna waxa weeyaan berbera corridor ama ay ka dhisayaan pipeline geology ahaan waan ka warramay inay tahay oo waan dul marayaa xoog ugu magaranaysaa dhaadhici maayo qof walbaaba uu akhriyi karaya Somaliland waxay basins leedahay basinada ugu fiican marka loo eego gaasta iyo saliidda taariikh ahaan intii ay Somaliland jirtay 35 sano ee u dambeeyay dhowr qolaa yimi 2008 ilaa 2009 xilligii Silaayo ka hor Silaayo markuu yimi dawladdiisii koowaad ee kulmiye 2012 General Energy baa timi iyo qolooyin kale fara badan 21 waxaan heshiis la galnay Taiwan wallow heshiisyada aanay wax weyn ka soo bixin oo ay tahay in maanta qolkan aan wada fadhinaa dad although ay different industries aynu ka kala nimi haddana inaynu dhiirigelino sidii bal loo iibin lahaa resource-ka aynu hayno oo ama LinkedIn aan ku iibino ama social platforms-ka aynu ku iibino waxaad la socotaan in Somaliland aqoonsataa itaan xataa aanan isku biirin Soomaaliya inaad taa ogaataa baa muhiim 1960 markaynu qaadanay xornimada in ictiraafo waa inaan u mahad celinaa waayo waxa uu noo keenay investment waan u baahannahay GDP-ga dalka haddaad eegtid waxa weeyaan waa $580 million resource-ka haddaa la soo saaro waxaa $1 billion waan tusi doonaa ayuu noqonayaa markaad eegtid development-ka ay gaastu yeelan doonto exploration-ka dhowr nooc buu leeyahay competitive physical-ka markaa East Africa anu waxaan ka shaqayn jiray Nairobi University of Nairobi baan lecturer ka ahaa for about a year and a half waxaan dhex galay industry-goodan dhex galay halkaa Kenyaanku waxay kaga duwan yihiin East African countries-ka kale waa dad dhinac dad ka eegto waa dad aad u furfuran oo aad wax u barta skills leh saliidii bay la soo baxeen laakiin inagu waxaanu kaga duwanahay Somaliland ahaan waxaanu ogol lahay in wax lala cuno in shirkaduhu noo yimaadaan baan ogol lahay dad furfuran baanu nahay oo ka duwan musuqmaasuqoodu oo anagu dhexdeenu badan yahay laakiin markay heshiisyada galayno uu ka duwan yahay oo waan deeba garanaysa u yeelanaa dadka marka Kenyaanka iyo waxaan isbarbar dhigayay bal Ugandiska oo iyagu waxay kooranayaan taad waxba qodinba ama shirkad keenin waa inaad license bixisaa lacag baad bixinaysaa Uganda markay tagtid waxyaabihii carqaladda ahaa shirkad consult baan ahaa Shell waxay ku leedahay lacag bixi haddii kale you cannot even be in Uganda hargeysa waxaa samayn kari maysid adaa waa iska tegi kartaa diyaarad baad goosanaysaa wax dootaad meesha dootaad mari kartaa saasaanu kaga duwannahay waxaanu ku naalnaa buqacad aad u muhiim oo sidaad aragtid Strait of Hormuz maanta dib haddana loo xiray Iran baa dib u xidhay marka haddii la soo saaro resource-ka ku jira dalkii waxaanu awood u yeelan karnaa inaanu meelo kale Yurub u iibgeyno oo waxay tahay dowladdan maanta jirta ee Somaliland uu hogaaminayo Cabdiraxmaan Ciro iyo qolada magaranaysa la shaqeynaysa in ay suuro geliyaan inay idinkoo kale magaranaysa dalkii dibadiisa ugu celiyaan waliba qolooyinka abaarso qolada abaarsa inay dalkii dib ugu noqdaan anagu 10 sano iyo dheeraad doona jooga halkale qolada waayo waxa weeye cream of the crops magaranaysa in tacliinta dib loogu celiyo sababtaasaana laydii keenay marka horeba oo Jonathan Starr iyo raggii ay tagay halkaa waxay idii keeneen baynaad haddana dib ugu celisaan aqoonta dalkii si annaga iyo idinku waa isu fahmi karno loo helo dad meeshii magaranaysa seeds ah oo lala shaqayn karayo waxaan isku dayayaa inaan dedejiyo saliidu markaa maanta waxa weeyaan foostadii waa $90 mise waa $95 meelahaas maraysa haddana boqolban gaadhin waxaan isku dayay ba in $75 aan ka dhigo ba intay Somaliland heerka u ekaalayd busaaradii uu ka sheekeynayay xaajigii halkaa fadhiyay waynu ka baxaynaa haddii la soo saaro dadku waxa weeyaan waxa la isku eriyay siyaasadda beri baa ku yara dhex jirayo dadku waxa isku eriyayaan waxa weeyaan waa gaajadaas u keenaysa qofku hadduu shaqo tago cadaaladna uu helo economicska inuu shaqeeyo meesha waxa ka baxaysa reer hebel baan cidi ku shaqaysato cid nacibi ma jirto laakiin dad baa dadka kale ku shaqaysanaya marka inta microphone qaata ayaan oranaya anoo reer hebel ah waxaan nacab ay reer hebel hadda waa dad meel kale iska joogo qaar bad ee tala shacabka u tumaya taa waxaa lagaga bixi karaa in resource-kii dalka yaalay lasoo saaro waxna ma garanaysaa contribution Canada waa laga wada hadlayo in badan baad ka hadlayseen infrastructure development bay ma garanaysaa haddii lasoo saaro resource-kan ayuu dee keenaya ma wada akhriya dhammaantood slideska xamdaa idiin soo diri doonta insha allahu waxaan isku dayay bal hadda dalalkii soo saaray saliidda iyo kuwii ay curska ku noqotay iyo kuwii ka faa'iidaysay lasoo barbardhigi karay Nigeria waad garanaysaa oo galbeedka ku taala iyo Qatar waa laba dal oo kala duwan Soomaa lessons learned bay leeyihiin labadoodu dadna toobe xidhayeen oo qurux badan yihiin qaarna way gaajoonayaan oo iyagiiba is cunayaba waa Nigeria marka waxay taasi keentay waxa weeyaan in ummadii dhexdeedii isku dhacdo boko xaraam 500 kooxood oo kala wada duwan bay ayay leedahay u shaqeynaya ma maanaya mikrofoonku u shaqeynaya sama 500 kooxood oo kala wada duwan baa ayaa ka soo dhex baxay oo ka dhex faa'iideysanaya resource-kii yaraa ay haysteen iyagu marka sidee baan haddii aynu soo saarno saliidda sidee baynaan u noqon Nigeria sidee baynaan u noqon Allahumma salli ala Muhammad saa Suudaan dhibaatadii ku dhacday oo dee waad ka warhaysaan in waxa weeyaan resource-kii la soo bixin iyagii baa isu dawladeeyay qabaa'ilkii dhexdoodii iyo ashkhaastiii baa isu dawladeeyay dabeetana waxay noqotay in magaranaysa ay cunaan ay isdilaan inagu dooni mayno 35 sano ka hor baynu isdilay oo dagaalo badan laga soo doogay marka dooni mayno halka dib ugu noqono marka waxyaabaha ugu fiican aanu sameyn karnaa ama ugu muhiimsan aan sameyn karnaa waxa weeyaan inaynu shuruucdii in kala hagaysay marka hore la sameeyo idinkuna ka qayb qaadataan waxyaabaha waxa la isweydiinayay maxaynu dalka dib ugu celin karnaa expertise-ka SLPA waxa weeyaan waa xarun way mahadsan isaaq iyo nin kale oo Yaasiin la yiraahdo Virginia degan baa sameeyay waana maalintii ay sameeyeen waan xasuustaa dhowr sano ka hor bay ahayd 2018 bay ahayd wallahi isaaq baa la soo hadlay meesha ka keeneen 4 qof bay ahayd gibigooduba waa Yaas Shamba High Idil oo joogta California Faysa Rahma iyo intaas bay ahayd obedka ugu horeeyana waxa weeyaan idii qoray energy-geedii qoray maanta dee waxa weeyaan 6 meelood bay 6 magaalada ku sameeyeen this what the power of collective good in la soo yimaado caliban dee Columbus ku aqaanay 10 years ago dee dad badan oo garanaysa in dadka la soo keeno oo laga wada shaqeeyo dad contribution-kii markaa dib loogu celiyay dalka markaa siyaasadan in aynu dalkii dib ugu celino shuruucda aan sameeyno si aynaan cares resource-kan uu noogu noqon waxaan kaga baxayaa slide-kan waxa jira in Norway baa iyaduna kamid dadka sameeyay Commonwealth-ka waxaana ay resource-kan faa'iidadu u keenay oo iyadoo ka duwan tahay Venezuela dee rag gaar baa cunayay laakiin Norway in maxaynu kaga dayan karnaa maxaynu qadar kaga dayan karnaa waxa soo dhan research-ka dadkeena halkan jooga regardless meesha discipline-kan u leenahay because waayo resource-ka hadda la soo saaro haddaad dhakhtar tahay waad ka faa'iideysaa haddaad macallin tahay waad ka faa'iideysaa Allahumma salli wax energy-ga waxa ku xidhan dhammaan nolosha adduunyada oo dhan baa ku xidhan caagada maanta aan biyaha ka cabayno petroleum baa laga sameeyay right well it's a byproduct of chemical products marka waxaan ku soo gabagabeynayaa slide-kan aan ku soo gabagabeynayaa anuu Houston baan deganahay ciddii oil and gas jecel inay soo gasho engineer I'll be more than happy to support okay I'm a project manager I have a lot of projects from $100,000 all the way to millions of dollars. ciddii doonaysa inay soo gasho ama aan ka caawiyey inay soo gasho industry-ga, reach out to me. Okay? خصمنا maaha inaad petroleum engineer noqotid. You can be a mechanical engineer, you can be an electrical engineer, you can be a lot of different things, because as long as you are an engineer, we can put you somewhere within the industry. hadduu ilaahay idhaa. haddaad finance baratid, also there is a finance side of the industry, there is also an accounting side of things. So ardayda iyo cid kastoo doonaysa inay soo gasho, feel free to reach out insha allah. waxaan kusoo gabagabeynayaa inaynu ka dhigno isaaqiya markay naga tagaan ee New York nagaga noqdaan inaanay Texas noqon meel lagu kala dareero, oo dadkan intaan oo dhami nin walbaaba uu gurigiisii ku noqdo oo aan dib dambe la soo arag. waxaan jecelahay inaan kaga baxo hiboy, inaan kaga baxo dadkoo dhami si wada yimaadaan. ya dadku la iska wada warhayo oo xaflada la sameeyo oo kolba qof walba ay la isxilqaamo. haddaan la isxilqaamin waxba ma shaqaynayaan. hadda qolkan qof baa naga bixiyey, isaaq baa iga sheegay, qof xamdaya way noo shaqaynayeen. mamduux ilaa kharasmeey de waxa weeyaa dadkii meesha ka shaqaynayay dad dee waa labor baa galay. quruxdan dee iskama iman, labor baa galay. in qolo maalin ay labor kaa samayso oo hadduu ilaahay ay ka shaqayso. aad baan idiin salaamay. Oh, sure. كويس. That's fine. No, that's fine. Yeah.
You have the other mic?
Q.
We have a few questions we prepared for Abdulsalam. The first question is...
Abdulsalam.
Sorry. Okay.
That's fine.
How important has mentorship been in your journey?
horta anigu ayeydii baa keentay Maraykan anigoo 18 jir ah. background-kayguna muu ahayn engineering. dadkii iga soo horreeyey dee iskuulka beriga xoog looma geli jirin. waxay ahayd 2008 2009 kii baan u malaynaya. waxaa gaab badan baa igu dhacay inaan helo mentorship saxsan. markii hore waxaan doonayay inaan barto criminal justice. ka daabaa la yidhi maya waxba halkaa lacag kama samaynaysid. engineering electrical engineering oo dhib baa weydiiyey markaas Ohio State advisor ka ah. markaa waxaa hot topic ahaa oil and gas, the Marcellus, Utica Shale, Pennsylvania area. haddaad dee doonaysa lacag samaysid oil and gas, petroleum engineer noqo. hadda ninkaasi ilaa maanta waan u mahadnaqayaayo waa ninka i baray. haddii kale electrical engineer baan noqon kari lahaa, mechanical baan noqon kari lahaa, which is also a great disciplines. laakiin wuxuu i tusay waxaan markii horena aqoon asal la u lahayn. inta petroleum engineerka reer Somaliland aad bay u yaryihiin. industry ahaanna ma gallaba marka horeba, waayo resource-ka dee maanaan soo saarinba. marka had iyo jeer dadkeenu waxay bartaan chemicalka, electricalka, waxaasay dhex galaan. markaa ninkaasi advice-ku maalintay siiyey waa tan maanta ilaa maanta ku tamarinayo. marka to answer your question, mentorship-ku inaynu isku tiirsano dhammaanteen oo welibana chapteriskii ay miisaska qaar ka dhawaajiyeen la sameeyo, oo qoladii finance-ka ku jirta, qolada robotics-ka ku jirta, qolada ku jirta Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, in la sameeyo oo lagu xidho qolada senior-ka. waa dhowr qolaan u kala saari karnaa. qolo senior oo industry-ga in badan ku jirtay, qolo cusub oo imika soo galaysa. SLPA the website-ka coders fara badan baan u leenahay oo ka shaqeeya in la sameeyo ma garanaysaa haddii ay baydno si easy connection ay u noqoto.
Thank you for the answer. Next question. So Janelle, which signed oil exploration in Somaliland, which is backed by Taiwan, they've been involved with Somaliland since 2012, more than a decade now.
every year, 2024, 2023, here, drilling starts next year. You know, something tangible starts the next year. So we've heard projects coming for years, but it's been slow. Is this a normal timeline? Should we be concerned? What's the opportunity cost?
Right. Horta Channel Energy ma aha horta inaga waxa dhibkayna qabsaday waxa weeye been baynu isu maawelinaa. Channel Energy waa shirkad private equity ah. Waxa heshiis la soo galay dhowr qof baa kala soo galay London iyadoo joogta. Dabeetana waxay ku yiraahdeen Allahumma salli ala Muhammad waxaanu sameynaynaa seismic 2D ama 3D seismic. Iyagu dareenkoodu muu ahayn inay wax noo qodaan. Reality waa ka yaanu siyaasi kale iyo tuug kale waxaad ga iibin waxa weeyaan dareenkoodu muu ahayn iyo waxay u socdeen inay wax qodaan waxay u socdeen inay lacag ka sameeyaan 2D seismic ay rangareynayaan dabeetana ay uga iibiyaan private day rooms laakiin waxa halkaan dhigay waxa weeyaan dawladnimadii aanu sheeganaynay ayaa baabaaday waxa weey dawladda kama in badan baan meesha ka jirin marka in horta dawladnimada waliba SLPA iyo dadka ku jira dib uga shaqeeyaan wuxuu wuxuu yiraahdaa ka hadlin siyaasadda ka hadlin laakiin inaynu hadana ka shaqeyno isku dayno in skillski dib loogu celiyo Allahumma salli ala Muhammad dalkiyo Channel Energy shaqadii ma qaban karto iyadoo markii horeba u socon inay shaqada qabato hadana cidii ku control lahayd ama wax ku weydiin lahayd meeshii ma joogto dana ay wadanahoodii wataan Allahumma salli ala Muhammad dadkii xisaabin lahaana meeshii ma jira marka waxa weeyaan wax ka soo naasacad halka ma jirto markaas waxaan oo lahaa wax kale shirkado kale iyo waxaanu ka fakarno in Channel Energy ay timaado.
That's a very precise answer. Yep. So in all projects, companies often they take a huge risk, especially in the Horn of Africa.
Yes.
So they take a huge initial risk by investing hundreds of millions just to bring the infrastructure to dig.
That's right.
And if oil doesn't end up being dug or found or there's a war, it's huge problems for dividends and investors.
Yes.
So we know they take a huge recovery cost up front, but after that there's exploitive deals where they take like 70%, the host country gets 30%. Are there any professional experience? Are there mechanisms to prevent that? Is there an option where Somaliland gives up revenue in the beginning just to get rid of recovery costs fast and keep a bigger share? Maybe instead of exporting oil raw, maybe we use some of that money for refineries within Somaliland and make a higher margin. What do you think about that?
Horta laba qolaan u yeeran karnaa. Qolada la yiraahdo private equity, qolana waa qolada kambaniyada waaweyn ExxonMobil, Chevron, operators qolooyinka la yiraahdo. Kuwaasi ku iman maayaan waayo waxay leeyihiin shareholders, board of directors baa xukuma. Aniga lacagteeda ku jirta, adiga lacagtaada ku jirta. They don't go to Somaliland just for the sake of going to Somaliland. Marka inagu waxaynu inay tahay inaynu soo attract gareyno waxa weeyaan unless aan ku noqdo qoladaas waxay u tagaysaa haddaad tustid in certificate Somaliland u tagaan markii hore ictiraaf la'aan bay ahayd ictiraafkii maanta waanu haysanaa ka fakaraan dal ka fiican Somaliland safety-geedu ma jiro laakiin cidii iibin lahayd waa la helo oo ma garanaysaa laga shaqeeyo qolada kalena waa qolada private equity-gan ka sheekeynaya in qolada horta xooga la saaro ama ha joogaan Houston iyo Dallas iyo Mareykanka ama ha joogaan Europe in private equity-ga lacagta marka hore geliyaan dabeetana ay ka iibiyaan maxsuulka shirkadaha waaweyn si investment ugu sameeyaan oil and gas is not cheap endeavor marka waxay u baahan tahay siyaasiyan cid ay isku haleyn karayaan oo watan had iyo jeer u yiraahdo ha laga shaqeeyo sidii shuruucdeenu ay u hagaagsanaan lahayd iyo dhexdeena qaylada ka dhaxaysa dhexdeena iyo siyaasadda huhaada ku dhisan iyo beenta iyo waxa soo dhamay waxay saameyn ku yeelanaysaa inuu qof lacagtii ku keeno oo investmentkii ku keeno ay saameyn ku yeelanaysaa marka inaan inteenani ka shaqeyno iyo inta kale naga maqan bas sidii investmentkaasi noogu iman lahaayo maaha as I said 100,000 iyo 200,000 $300,000 investment ma waa millions waa commitment qofka ku imanaya marka waa inaad qancin kartaa waa inaad dawladnimadaada ku qancin kartaa waa inaad ku qancin kartaa capacity-gaaga iyo dadkii la shaqeynayayba qofku intuu ku keeno resource haddii cid uu la hadlaba waaye ka hor hadda Taiwan dhibka ka dhacay waan taasa kusoo gabagabeynayaa cidii la sheekaystaanba wasaaradii way waayeenba waxay yidhaahdeen cid noo soo jawaabto iimeyladii ka soo jawaabtaba wasiiradii iyo agaasimayaashii iyo dadkii technicalka ah ee meesha joogay cid u soo jawaabto waa la waayay oo waxa uu leeyahay abaarso ree abaarso ha noqdaan bas ay uga shaqeeyaan arrinka hadduu ilaahay waa taasa kusoo gabagabeynayaa هي 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 سلاح علي سلاح علي qolada ciida gale naga yibiraysay qoladaas naga yibiraysay waxba kama oriya caliyo waxaas waxba kama jiraan waxa kama jiraan waxba biyo qoladaas laga yibiraysay arrinka shidaalku waxba kama jiraan shidaalku markuu soo baxayo qarbuunkiisa iyo allahu sal in hargeysaba laga dareeray ahayd nin halkaas ka jooga salaxlay baa yiri shidaalkii baan hayay soo carra markaasuu snapchat ku qabta say waliyo ragal aftahansana arrinkaasi waxa weeyaan it's a little bit more complicated than that
I think there's one more to that.
Yeah, sure.
What are the health risks or hazards associated with if you start like oil drilling in Somaliland? What is it? Cancer? Is it contaminated waters or?
horta itaynaan cancer iyo kaba hadalba iyo risk ilaahay waxa may noo soo saaraaba anigu taagana baalkani ciiday noo keeto lacagtii lagu soo saari lahaa hadda inteenani waanu samayn karnaa analysiska waxaanu leenahay pretty good background infrastructure kana aad baan ugu fiicanahay from the wellhead all the way to inta suuqa laga geenay waxa it's a huge industry waxaa jira rag reer Somaliland oo reservoir analysis ku takhasusay qaar baa drilling ku takhasusay intayadaas haddaan soo tagno waanu samayn karnaa wax weyn laakiin problemku waxaan u baahanay equipment baan u baahanay bahalladii wixii lagu qodayay halkan hoose loogu tagayay iyo meeshii la geenayay baan u baahanay lacag baan u baahanay lacagta intay cidinoo keenayso risk iyo environmental kama hadleen anu taasaa qaba
One quick question. qiimaha ay saliidu ka joogto suuqa ma saameyn karaa in waxaanu ay feasible tahay in wax la soo saariyo in kale
صح that's good question
Texas waa mararka qaarkood ceelasha dhan waa la xidhaa because it doesn't make sense in ay xitaa soo saarto
that's true
haddeer macna ma samaynaysaa in new drilling laga sameeyo Somaliland oo ma yihiin feasible ma yihiin waxan
hayo imika adduunyadii sidii hore isugu xaqlaha akbar sadaqto sidii ay isugu xidhnaan jirtay caalamku awl isugu xidhnaa waa la kala wada shikiyey siyaasadii saliidu waxa weeyaan the most geopolitical driven commodity waxa weeyaan dee maynaan halkan fadhigi kari lahayn haddaanu lay jirin dowladduna maraykan ma dhisnaan karayo haddaanu energy-gaasi shaqaynayn marka madaxweyne kastoo yimaada dowlad kastoo caalamka joogtaa it has to work on the energy marka geopolitics ku isbedelay to answer your question haddii aynu anagu ka shaqayno waxa yimi marka baa yimi Turkiga oo wato Soomaaliya in badan bay ka shaqaynayeen xataa reer Somaliland ka shaqeeyay aniga qudheed marban technical u sameeyay rubaan sheegaya they don't bahalki they will reach out to anybody they will ask you questions maanta markab bay keeneen markabkaasi hadduu saliidda u soo saaro imbalance economically ayaa dhacaya hadhow lacagtaas adiga lagugu soo dulay waa lagugu qabsanaya you have to think ahead soma Somaliland damo jiraysaa ma jirto ninkaas hadduu lacag helo already waxaa laga sameynayaa Indian Oceankii ayay ka qodayaan inagu lu tagno ma iimin karnaa resource-kaanu haysano I think this is the best time to do it we have the leverage we have Allahumma salli ala Muhammad the momentum we have everything laakiin inaynu shaqayno dadkeenina dad shaqaynaya iminka intaan anu arkay dee week ka hor baan ka imiyo waa la wada hurdaa khayr ilaahay khali sure
wasiirka wuxuu saaran saliidda iyo gaaska iyo mineralka
ha
wuxuu yidhi ma la leeyahay ama how we can communicate
horta horta SLPA I think xiriir bay la leedahay waan u malaynayaa wasaaradda arrimaha dibadda through diasporada correct me if I'm wrong marka they can go through that channels iyo dib garanaysaa isaaqada taa ka warramay dowladdan la dhisay maanta ilaa waxba kala qarsamaynay anigu hadalka sida ay tahay waan u idhaahdaa waa dowladdii ugu ayaanka darnayd intay Somaliland jirtay okay ma jirto wax khibrada adaa ila soo shaqeeyay weeyaan sheekadu waa waxaan markii hore xataa ururada u furay anigu I went back to the country to Somaliland 45 years ago lacagteedan ku bixiyay inaan urur iyo sameeyo Allahumma salli ala Muhammad dee wixii oo dhan laakiin dee afar oday baa yidhi anagoo habar jeclaa I was like this must be serious I mean this is a joke marka ilaa there's no way uu wasiirkaasi ku dhageysanay wasiirkaasi baba lahaba expertise aan ka ahayn inuu nin ganacsadi u keenay saas ayay wasiirada lagu qaybsaday kii horena uu ka darnaa dee maya way dee reality waa ka dee maya that's the truth marka inaad reach out u samaysid oo aad ku tiraahdo maxaan kula qabtaa waxa ka horeysa marka hore waxaan horta is he willing to do it is he willing to wuxuu ku arkaa cadow buu ku arkayaa marka shaqada ka qaadanaysa ku arkay
waxaan ku keenay maxamuud sheekh wasaqana marmaan
si fiican in Houston
wasiirkii arrimaha macdanta iyo mineralka ayaan dhammaanay inaan ayagu ma nagu soo xidhi si uga soo qayb galo shir ka dhacay Houston Texas
yes
marka we could get in touch with him
yes yeah that's
marka kaasan sheegay wasiirka horena
yeah it will be really it will be something that we can reach out to
okay marka dad badan baa ku hadlay ma garanaysaa luqado badan Soomaali iyo Ingiriisi isugu jira marka anna bal waxaan isku dayi doonaa inta Soomaaliga iyo Ingiriiska inaan labadaba aan idinku hort marka ugu horeysa idinku mahad celiyo marka anagu waxaanu nahay ma garanaysaa jaaliyadda reer Dallas Forward khaasatan waxaan matalnaa urur samarfalka dadka reer Somaliland u qaabilsan waxaan maqlayay dad badan oo aanan ka warqabin inay jiraan urur noocaas oo kale ah marka anagu ururkayga waxa la yiraahdo midnimo ururkan waxa Mustafa dhowr sanadood ayay wadeen si informal ali oo garab taagan istaw ku jira marka anagu waxaan isku xilsaarnay in dadka reer Somaliland ku aftirsada inaanu caawino markii dhibaato ay soo wajahdo okay so we are representing Midnimo which is like a social welfare organization here located in Dallas we have been asked to give a short summary and of what we do, which as I said in Somali, we help like the Somaliland community at large when they are facing adversity. So, for instance, if there is a death in the family, severe illness, we provide financial support, emotional support, and the like to do that. But beyond that, we also held workshops where we talked about health issues, school, school programs, how to help navigate, for example, the Texas voucher program. So really, we cater to the needs of the overall community. So by all means, if you guys want to know more about what we do, volunteer, participate. Please talk to us and share your contact information. Really what we are looking for is people who can advertise what we do, maybe post it on Facebook, Instagram, just making sure that anybody who is looking for somebody knows where to look and to reach out, because definitely we will be here to help. Okay. So I just took a couple of notes, and so mashallah, it's like I'm very, very impressed by all the things that have been presented. It's going to be too long to me to talk about all my notes. Like I'm as you can see, I'm a note taker. But couple of things I would be I have to thank people, the people who made this possible. Volunteers, if we can have another round of applause, all the people who made this happen. Also, it's my first time to actually meeting Brother Mahmoud Igal of Amoud Foundation. For those of you, we're sitting right there, for those of you who don't know about Amoud Foundation and Brother Mahmoud Igal, he is really one of the pillars of this of the Muslim community at large, and not only supporting like relief relief activities in Somaliland, but really all over East Africa. So please look up what they are doing. Make sure to, if you can help them, please help that. So now I'm going to go back to Somaliland SLPA organization. So one of the brothers said that we don't want this to be one and done event, right? And this is not what we are. Absolutely, this is not what we are targeting. So, what we are going to plan, inshallah, with Brother Isaac support, is to create a Texas chapter of SLPA, where we are going to basically continue the mission of this organization here in Texas. Not only the DFW area, obviously, but Austin and Houston and all over the state. So for that, we will, if you haven't shared your contact information, please make sure that you have your contact information with SLPA, because we will be looking and getting this information and reaching out to you. So first of all, to get to know each other, and get to know who we are and how we can help. So this is what we are. This is going to be our first step. So by all means, this is not going to be the end. So we have a number of profile, if you will, of what the SLPA stands for, or how we can help and how we can support their activities. So we have mid-career professionals, we have senior professionals, we have students, we have student in college, we have high schoolers, right? And we even at Midnimo, we were doing something informally. What the SLPA was doing, we were doing this informally, and reaching out to inviting the student at TCU to get them to know what they are, what program they were taking, and offer advice, right? So what can we do? How we can help them? Well, we can help them in finding, for example, internships, right? Particularly if you have a student from Somaliland who do not have a network, right? That's a big thing, right? I came as a teenager in Canada, right, in the early 90s, right? And one of the things I faced difficulties was, hey, how do I land my first internship? Because that is really important, right? Then to building up your resume, right? But there were no Somali period professionals like who were working in a professional environment, right? But alhamdulillah, now you have people like me, right? Ali and Mustafa, and so many others, right? Here in the DFW area, who are in a position, right, to share your network, right? But also that's what we want to make available to you guys, to the students, to make sure that, hey, well, maybe I won't be able to help you, but here's what we're going to be doing. So what can you do to help us, right? So SLPA, right, when Brother Ishaq first connected with me, I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there was no really any Somaliland community in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right? They have a website, they have a LinkedIn group, right? I encourage you to look them up. Please join, right? It's not going to be only limited to the Dallas, but it's going to be all, like through the whole entire United States. So please, if you have a LinkedIn profile, join that group, and then so you'll know who is a part of that group. The other thing what you can do is, for the people who couldn't make it, right? So alhamdulillah, we have a really great turnout. We are really grateful. Share that information and tell them that, hey, SLPA is going to be establishing Texas chapter. This is what they are about. They are planning to be doing follow-up meetings, and we would like you to benefit from it and then support the mission. And I'll take this opportunity that to ask the SLPA organization to, inshallah, do their national conference here in Dallas. So invite all the chapters in the United States to come and meet here in Dallas. So we will get even larger turnout and then get the opportunity to network, right? Really, networking is a key. We want everybody to know each other, get the contact information, and just inshallah, this is just going to be the start. And with that, Ishaq, you want to say just one word?
So I think what we heard today from the youth is they need networking, they need advice, they need mentorship, they need people to help them while they are early in their journey. So we heard you. We will establish a cadence, maybe a full-day workshop where we create booths, people talk about what they do, their career, resume workshops, something to help the youth. So we heard you, and inshallah, more to come.
Yep. And I'm gonna, and I'll be pretty brief to the point. Just want to do a big shout out to Isaac and his whole team, right? Anyone in town, Austin.
Good job, Isaac.
A few people came from Austin, Oklahoma, San Antonio, Houston. So thank you guys for coming to Dallas, number one. And two, the students that put this together. Firdouz, Hamda,
مفتوح
but big thank you to you guys, all right? And I know a lot of you guys are talking about network, how do we help each other? For me, the biggest I get excited about is those students. Like Shaqalida, when I'm at work, I brag about them. I'm like, yo, hey, look at this small little school. Hey, look at these schools. They got kids from TCU, they got kids from MIT, Harvard, right? It's a moment to really brag about and really something to celebrate. So big thank to all of you guys and all your hard work, right? So and Adel Igal, all your hard work, what you have back home, here, not over back home, just even here, what he put together. Big thank you to you as well. But no, we definitely want to thank everybody for coming out. We definitely appreciate you guys. This won't be the first time, but we're looking forward to us getting together and doing a big and better things in the future. Hopefully, Isaac, we may do the national in Dallas.
National in Dallas, nice. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
aad baad mahadsantihiin kolley waa xididna Mustafa Yusuf hadii waa marka horta
So Muhammad.
Dallas community they played a big part in this event today. At Midland magaalada soo marnay, this was the first city who took care of 100% of the cost. His team, they sponsored this whole venue without even us asking, so really appreciate that. And then Mahmoud Rigal, who without asking, he didn't even know that we were ordering from Cafe Medina, but he found out and he covered 100% of the food cost today. And with that, we want to give awards. We presented, with our meager resources, we were able to, get a certificate. So I'll start off with the first certificate to Mahmoud Rigal and Abu Foundation. And we have the second award for Mustafa Ali Adnan and their team in the community. So congratulations to them.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Hold it.
You guys can hang that up in the. Mahmoud, if you want to stand here so we can take a picture on this side, the award.
Totally.
Thank you so much. There it is. And then the camera's this way. Yeah. All good. One more round of applause, guys.
That's nice. That's very nice.
We have all your contacts.
Thank
we have all your numbers. You all registered through the app.
Good job.
So we'll be sending a follow-up message, how you guys can stay connected to the Lord, how we can work together. I appreciate everyone from Houston, from Austin, from San Antonio, Oklahoma, obviously Dallas-Fort Worth as well. So this is probably, I think, our best event yet. So we're very
MashaAllah. That's good. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
To get together. So we'll send information as it gets closer. Before May 18th is around the corner anyways, right? So get ready for that as well.
Thank you so much for something, Susan. One last comment, guys. So after every city, we always have a post event, like a networking event, a social event. So we're going to be going to Cafe Nahima. There's going to be board games, there's going to be tea. We're going to sponsor that for you guys as well. So whoever has energy, who's not tired, come join us. We're going to be there from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So we'll text you the information as well.